Have it pivot right back to us right now. Okay, so go full screen here. All right, people. What's good with it? Welcome back to another episode of the Gifted Hoops podcast. I just want to say, heads up, this is the first time that I am testing out the Item OBS multi-stream feature. So if things are buggy, I apologize for that. But if things seem to be good, but we're back. I've been going stupid the entire offseason with all 30 team hoops. I'm tired, but I also love what I do. So this is fun. And I'm happy to say I am finally here with the Memphis OG. I've been doing this show with them for the past 2 years in off season. They've always been down, so I'm super happy and humbled about that, and I'm excited for our comments because we always get right to everything. So I first want to introduce my dog, Bryson. Say what's good to the people, Bryson.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Glad to be here again, talking some Grizzlies hoops. Appreciate you having me, as always, Gifted.
Absolutely. And my dog, Alex, was good, bro.
What up, man? Super excited to talk about the Grizzlies. Now, this is probably the most excited I've been about the Grizzlies in, let me think, 4 years, 5 years, something like that. 4 years? Yeah, 4 years, I want to say. So this is going to be fun, for sure.
Yes. And also, another piece of important news. I was able to get my podcast disbanded. For those that don't know, I initially had one initial distributor. So I had 2 copies of my podcast appearing. That is no more on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So it should just be Gifted Hoops on those platforms for it. Also, this podcast is now live. So if you want to tap into the Gifted Hoops YouTube. This is live right now there as well. Again, I'll make sure to have Bryce and Alex's links in the description. But enough of the promo stuff, man. Let me tell y'all something right now off the rip, off the muscle, okay? For someone that's not a Memphis fan, and I don't know how much of this Bryson has heard, I have been going to war for these goddamn Memphis Grizzlies a lot, okay? And it's not fake. Like, I genuinely believe people are sleeping on this team. I was one of the few souls that actually watched Memphis hoops at the end of the season after Todd Jerome came back and was literally being limited to not playing more than 25 minutes and was still putting up triple doubles. Real ones know what I'm talking about. He like
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Literally, as soon as it hit 24 minutes, he was out of that game. Facts. That is what it was. But I kind of am fast tracking this talk. But anyway, I've been super high on the team, so I'm happy to get into all of the specifics for the 2027 Memphis Grizzlies. But I would be remiss if we didn't start with the season, because my God, Ja is gone now. JJ, like this is a whole new era of team. How are y'all feeling, first and foremost?
I'll start it. I'm feeling,
you got it.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Like I'm feeling good. I mean, early on, you know, I was like, I'm just gonna go back to last summer. Like I knew what it was like when you had the Bane trade, and it was like, and you're in limbo. Like you understand like the business. Like if you don't, the results will come. Something's gonna change soon.
Yeah,
and it didn't work out the way I thought it would. I thought it was gonna be Jaren played well, and the roster was too young, and like you know, like they were gonna be like one and out. It ended up having way worse. The other person, they played below the level. The roster was hurt, and your best player didn't want to play, gave up on the team like 6 games in. I think it was I can't remember.
Yeah,
game 6,
man.
game 7, like it was crazy. Like, and I remember like yesterday. And I said it was over then. And then I was the bad guy on Twitter for the whole summer or whole season. They're like, you're a fake fan.
Not the fake fan allegation because you told the truth.
Yeah, you're a fake fan. Yeah, you're a fake. Yeah, literally, like you're a fake fan. Like and people calling me and I laugh at the stuff. It doesn't hurt my feelings, but it's funny. So like how it worked out and literally played out was pretty funny. But then like obviously, you know, like the season, I felt like it was like 3 different seasons into one because you had the beginning game season. Then you had when Zach Edey came back, then he left, and then it's like after that, it's like you're just tanking. Like it's like 3 different seasons into one. but like it looked nasty. But the end where we got to now, like you can see why they did what they did. So yeah, like we're gonna get more into it, but like yeah, it was a roller coaster, and I was accepting of it early because I kind of like had it, like I knew what it was going to. Like I said last summer, like what could happen. So like it didn't really surprise me, but like I'm glad it worked out the way it worked out. I'm always like glad that things work out for how they supposed to. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll say I'm feeling all right. I mean, I kind of the same way. I think that Lakers game, that was like Halloween. I think that was
what?
Yeah, I think that was the night that it was kind of like, it kind of felt like I didn't know if things were going to turn around after that. Like maybe there was a chance, but like after all that happened and the coaching staff and all that between John and everybody, I was like, okay, I kind of felt like this is probably going to be the last year. I mean, it would take something out of the ordinary for them to kind of like repair that. And I kind of just felt like between him and the front office, it got to the point to where there wasn't even really like a middle ground. I feel like at one point it kind of just was like, he was ready to get out. The front office was ready to move on. And honestly, it might be good for him to just get a new start too. Like I think, and that's why I feel still okay about it, because I feel like the Grizzlies now do have a chance to kind of restart. I mean, obviously the last 7 years have been built around Ja, Jaren, and Bane, and then with Bane leaving the offseason and then Jaren getting traded at the deadline. And I kind of feel like everybody, once Jaren got traded, it was like, well, if you're going to trade the other two, you kind of just got to, I kind of felt like it's time to just kind of restart, because that was like, they all kind of came in together, and it was like, you know, and then all the off the court stuff was a whole nother part of it. So I think it's a good thing where we are now. I think just getting a chance to kind of restart, getting Cam Boozer in, and I think, you know, getting that third pick, that was all. I was like, hey, if we get a top 3 pick, I'm sleeping well. Really, I was like top 4, honestly, because I was like, if we get one of those top 4 guys, I was like, I would have been okay with any of them. But honestly, Cam Boozer's the one I wanted the most. So I feel very good about that.
So I need to call back to a conversation I was having about Ja Morant in the offseason, because I was saying like they traded Desmond Bane. He's like one of the big 3 core guys here on this team. And I feel like the writing was on the wall. Like one of them is going to give like, I'm just not sure if they're going to keep all of this overall together. And I think Jaren deserves a bit more respect. It's funny because I'm actually a Jaren hater, but I got to keep it a band. Like he was actually playing really good basketball, but like, I'm sorry, nobody was healthy. Like it was a very rough season for them. And I'm sorry, but I have the Ja Morant, I have the numbers in front of me. And I'm sorry, like, I know injuries were part of it. I hear it, but like, I'm sorry. There's a chance Ja might have peaked at 22 years old. And I don't want to say that because that sounds very mean, but like, these numbers are absurd, man. I mean, listen, in the month of October, he shot 40% from the field. He shot 15% from 3. Then when you go to November, he shot, what was it? He shot 30% from the field, 17% from 3. Like, the shooting just got so bad, and it reached a point where it's like he's not adding much value. And the problem is, like, already, he's not a good player defensively. So it's like, if he's not giving you the value offensively, it gets rough. Now, to his credit, obviously, injuries and, like, the lineups all the way weren't the same. So I'm not going to say, like, that's who he is, but very much in the season, he was nowhere near any conversation of being like a top 5 point guard or this and that. Like it was really bad. And he did check out on the team. I think there's a lot of things the media did to, I would say, add to that reality happening to Ja Morant. So maybe him going somewhere else is the next best thing for his overall career to basically restart and have a, I would say, clean slate. But things got so bad, like Ja was only on this roster because no one wanted him in the offseason. That's the thing no one talks about. Like, they tried to trade him last year and they just could not find anyone. And it got so bad, you guys got no picks out of. In fact, you almost had to add picks to Ja Morant, which is crazy to think about, right?
Yeah. No,
for sure.
Yeah. I was like, that was the only thing that I was okay at the end is that they didn't have to add picks. Like that was the thing on the day of. I was like, okay, at least they didn't have to add picks. But yeah, and that's why I always said like when the trade went through, it's like I mean, yeah, it's not like a great trade for us, like by any stretch of the imagination. You know, it's not necessarily that I want Jeremy Grant on the team, but it's like you kind of had to do something at that point.
Yeah, and my thing was like with the whole trade thing, or really just the job thing. I always tell people, main thing, follow the money. And our local reporters were saying it the whole time. Everybody thinks it's the coaching staff. No, he didn't get an extension. He won an extension last summer. They weren't going to give it to him because they're like, we need you to be healthy and we need you to be productive.
Right.
And I say this about the NBA in general. However you feel about playoff players, whatever. There's a reason why James Harden continues to get contracts at this age. It's because he plays a lot of games and he produces numbers. How you feel about him playing underperforming or performing in the playoffs is up to you. But he plays like 70 games every year and he's going to play pretty decent.
You know what you can get with James Harden. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And it was the same with even Jimmy Butler when he got his contract and wanted a contract. When you play and you play well, you're going to get paid. So the Grizzlies were essentially like, all right, if Ja comes out and proves it, he's going to, if he plays well, and Zach Kleiman does this, he'll say stuff in his press conferences without really saying it. And basically he said before the season was like, we need a big year from Ja, like an All-NBA year from Ja for us to get where we need to get. And that's basically what they hinged on. If Ja Morant was good, they were going to be good. If he was bad, they were going to be bad. And guess what? He was good for like 6 games and then he quit. And then after he quit, he was like literally going through the motion for 2 weeks until he had the calf injury. Like it was just, and was like, I lost my happiness, like Jimmy Butler. It was just going through the motions, except he played way worse, like you were just naming. And so, yeah, he wanted to get paid. He was never going to get paid. And that's really all it comes down to. But like you said, the narrative with the media and stuff, they made it bigger than what it was. And I was just like, right, you got to simplify it to that. And that was really it. Like it didn't come down to anything else, really. Like he wanted to get paid, and that was really it. And he wasn't going to get paid here. And again, so that was really it. And like you said, like I think a fresh start's good for him. And my thing was, I always try to stress to people about the Ja return. The return is the addition by subtraction, not the actual value you get back in the deal. Like people don't understand, like energy is real in an organization. Like for any organization, like even just in life in general, like energy is real. So if you have a guy that's unhappy and don't want to be there, and you're starting a new era, you can't do that with him on your books. Like you can't just be like, oh, we can just send him home. No, they were trying to get rid of him because they know they need a whole clean slate. They don't need like, it was like we're gonna get into it, but like with Cam Boozer, he got drafted. You know, the first thing they asked him, hey, are you going to wear number 12 or is Ja Morant going to wear number 12? Like little stuff like that, you'd have to deal with the whole season if he was still on the damn roster. So like little shit like they don't need that cloud over them. They need to be focused on building for the next era. They don't need to be hearing like, is Ja Morant gonna come back, or are you ready to play with Ja Morant? No, he's not ready to play because he's not gonna play with him. Like so, right. I'm just glad that it was over with. And I told people like the return you got from Jaren and Bane anyway was like the return that you
that's the real value
for Ja Morant.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's real value, especially the Bane deal. But like, yeah, like I'm just happy it's over because I think there were some people that like were so emotionally attached to Ja Morant, and they still are, and they're still here. Not be happy.
I've seen it too many times.
Oh no, I just talked about it yesterday. Like literally, like they still here, but like, you know, like people that have been Grizzly fans for real, like are fans of the team, like they are excited about the Grizzlies. It's not these Ja stands that are like, oh my god, like the organization did him dirty. Trust me, this organization did more than they should have for somebody like him. And giving them chances, and they done more than enough. And I'm still critical of this organization, mind you. I be on there talking about Zach Kleiman doing whatever. Like I'm that guy, but still, I'm still gonna be fair and be like, he did everything he could. Like there's no way you're realistically gonna build around somebody that can't play, that hasn't finished a playoff series since 2021. Like when they played the Utah Jazz, that was the last time he was healthy, like walking off a court healthy, in like going to an offseason. And which coincides with him having a leap that next year. Like he hasn't walked off a court healthy since then, like in a full season. So like I say all that to say, like it's we're 2026. I said 2021. That's 5 years, bro. Like at some point you just got to move on. So yeah, man, it's like I'm happy, but like yeah, I'm super glad it's over because the discourse that was on the timeline, bro, dealing with it every day. Like, is he coming back? Can they make this work? Like, bro, no, they're not. They're not gonna make it work. I tried to tell y'all this. I told y'all this early. Y'all called me a bad guy, but then I end up looking right. So like, hey, look, like whatever, bro.
It's why
whatever, bro.
I rock with Alex because you got to keep it a band. Like, listen, man, I was tuned into Memphis so much. I'm like, I ain't gonna lie, Cam Spencer hooping. I'm like, hold on, they got some, they got some, right? Like,
we're gonna get into it. Yeah, we're gonna get into it. Like you said, people are sleeping on us. Like I feel that. Like people don't understand. We were tanking literally as soon as Zach Edey went down, and then John Morant on the deadline. Bro, they were like you just said. Ty Jerome, he had a 20-minute cap. Not only Ty Jerome, Cedric Howard. I remember when we played like the Nuggets or somebody late in the season, last 10 games, they made sure Cedric Howard didn't touch like 25 minutes.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
I was watching this stuff. Like people don't understand their main rotation guys barely played. So like we're gonna get into it, but like, bro, they were tanking, and they still won like 28 games over some teams that were like just flat out terrible. And now you're adding all these players to the roster. Like, yeah, they're gonna be better if healthy. I'm praying they're healthy, but like,
no, that's true. But when you talk about that tanking, there was some nasty tanking going on.
It was some nasty tanking. Yeah, Bryce.
Dude, because there was a game where I think it was like Dariq Whitehead came in and had like 15 in the first quarter, and they said no. They set him down the rest of the game. They said, "Nah, you doing too much." So yeah.
Last one, there was one more where we had. I forgot. I think his name was Lovering, the big man. We signed him to like a 10-day, and he hooped in that one game. After that one game, they said, we're not going to have no centers on the roster. They said, Taj Gibson, you're going to be our only center on the roster. They had Kyle Anderson playing center. They had Taylor Hendricks playing center.
Yeah, like, Jamai Mashack.
Mashack playing center. Like, they were doing some egregious tanking. Yes, we weren't the only ones. This half the league, like quarter of the league was doing it. Now, we don't get into it. There's a good reason why this draft class is stacked like that. But like, like we weren't the only ones. But yeah, we was part of the tanking. And I was cool with it. Like,
I went to a game where Jamai Mashack was guarding Donovan Clingan.
Oh, brother.
And I was like,
oh, brother.
I was like, what's going on?
Free eats, man. But okay, what made me want to watch it is like Ja Morant not being there. I just wanted to get a sense of like what the team was going to be because I already felt like Ja Morant was going to get traded at some point. And then after it didn't happen and he just sat for the rest of the year, I'm like, all right, let me see what these pieces are. I think one of my favorite games for Memphis was the in-season game. Actually, I don't think it was in-season. It was overseas versus the Magic. You remember that game? Yeah. I'm like, bro, like they got some hoopers, and it's a couple players on this roster that like I'm praying can turn their whole, I would say, how do I say this, NBA lives around. I keep telling people like, Zach Edey being healthy is such a dramatic thing for how good this roster can be. And again, on paper, Zach Edey is a great fit with Cam Boozer. It makes sense as a front court.
Yeah, no, like legitimately, like they were 7. I had it pulled up, but let me check real quick. But yeah, we were 7-4 in the games with Zach Edey. Like we looked like a playing-in-ish team, and he was like dominating. Like his on-off numbers were crazy. Like he looked like the big man that I thought. Like I said, he's gonna be a bigger Zubac. Like that's been my comp. Okay. He looked the part in that, like where he looked like he was just a dominant big that could set screens. He's gonna be a good rim protector. But there was a lot like, and he was just dominant, like flat out dominant, 14 and like 11 or something like that. And that's like with him not even really being like a basically an afterthought in the offense. And that's the same with Cedric Howard. Like people got to realize that's why I try to tell people going into this year, like. It worked. Like you were never going to see the things that you wanted last year with the last year's roster because you had 2 all-stars on your roster in theory, like 2 max players. Like you got to follow the money. They're going to give the shots to Ja and Jaren and whoever else was after that. Like Santi, like they were going to prioritize the rookies. So now you have a clean slate where you'll see Zach Edey like get a lot more. Now I'm not going to say they're not going to throw it to him every time. Like this is 1980, but you're going to see him more prioritizing screen and roll action or a post touch here and there. Or he's gonna play 4 and 5 pick and roll with that or Cam Boozer, like inverse pick and roll, like, and that's gonna be nasty. Like stuff like that is gonna make them look so much better. And my thing is with Zach Edey, he's big for them, like he's big for them the whole era, right? If he hinges on it, but like especially for this season, if he's healthy with Cam Boozer, they should we're gonna get into it, but they should easily be like competing for a back end playoff spot. I'm not saying they're gonna be like top 5 or nothing, but like you're telling me they can't be the 10th seed, the 9th seed in that respective order when Ja and Jaren, when they first that year one, they were together, they were basically on pace for that the whole season, 8, 9, 10 range, like, and they lost it in the bubble when they had to plan and all that. Like, you can't tell me they can't do the same thing when this roster now is better than the roster they had last. Like, come on, man. Like, it's gonna be real kind of crazy early. It could be crazy early. We could be in like November or like December being like, dang, like Cam Boozer and Zach Edey, that might be one of the better front courts in the NBA, like already.
Yeah.
And we won't be shocked. Everybody else will be shocked because they ain't watch no games. But like me, I won't be surprised. I'd be like, I kind of expected it. So
yeah, no. See, I'm excited for it too. I'm excited. I think that Boozer Edey front court is one of the things I'm most excited for. And I think this is something we actually did talk about over the summer gifted. Like, because I know we talked during summer league a little bit of just like, because Boozer also has the ability to kind of stretch the floor as well. I think that's going to work awesome.
And it's not fake shooting. He can actually shoot the ball. Like it's not fake.
Yeah. Legit shooting.
And I feel like as he kind of develops his hand, like that's the other thing too. It's like, he's also only 19. Like, he's going to get so much better. I think he's already slimmed down a little bit from when he was in college, too. So I think that's going to be helpful for him to really kind of be more on the wing. Because I think he is going to be, like, kind of a tweener. Like, I don't think he's ever really going to play the 5 necessarily. Like, maybe he could try to be, like, a super small ball 5. But, like, I don't really think that's where he's best suited to play. So I think having him next to Edey is going to be better. And then I feel like, I mean, talking about like having Coward out there and having Edey and Boozer, like they should be like top 5 in the NBA in rebounding like most of the season as long as those guys are healthy. And that's something, that always leads to, rebounding always leads to winning. So that's something I'm excited about too.
Yeah, no rebounds, no rings. No rebounds, no rings.
Yeah, man. Like I keep going back to Zach Edey because again, it's like defensively in the limited minutes I saw though, it's like as rim protector, he's real deal. He's a physical, imposing mismatch where it's like if you put guys on him and you try to like swap it off, he can really post up. And it's just like he didn't get a chance to play as much. I feel like playing with the 4 who's also a dynamic passer can really elevate his game. Like there's so many like cool things. I love what Alex said, inverted pick and rolls. Sign me up. And Cam is like a lot faster than people realize, bro. Like he can move his feet. So like I love bigs who are really skilled, can shoot, can pass, but can also move their feet. Now, I do want to see how Cam, I think, projects as a defender. I do want to see how that looks, but having a traditional guy who can be in the paint for him, I think helps him out a ton there. So, oh, that's cool. And again, we said his name earlier, bro. Ty Jerome to me isn't getting enough respect, and I say this because like I picked him up on my fantasy team just to be like, all right, I'm gonna have him here, so I'm going to intently watch these games, and it's like dead. Like I'm seeing him, like, wait a minute, he played 18 minutes, had 25 and 8 and 4, and then didn't play the second half. I'm like, brother, per 36, if I really extract that, it's kind of crazy. No, like you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like, I'm not trying to like overly gas him up. Like I get that, too. I'm just saying like he's signed over there hurt, unfortunately. But it's like if he was healthy, the way that will look on the roster is very intriguing because he can pass, he can shoot. Like he is a guy that's very dynamic in many different ways. When you put him with size, that's a pretty solid team, and that's without me really getting into my gas bag. Because guess what, y'all? I haven't even gotten into my real gas bag. The real gas bag will be, can we get anything out of Gigi Jackson? Can he get back to the guy who was like breaking records with like LeBron James, Anthony Edwards, bucket getter wise? Like there's a lot of talent on this roster. Another guy, Taylor Hendricks, who had a great summer league, by the way. Size wise, if that shot is real too, like, bro, this is a team that has size at almost every position. And the one thing I know for a fact, y'all, is size matters more than ever in the NBA. It matters.
Oh, yeah. And I was going to say, like, they wanted a clear build, and Zach Kleiman said that. I think he said they want to get bigger, stronger, faster. Like he was saying that. He said that like at the exit. And like basically like that's why like when they were building, like if you go look at their roster, like the smallest players is like, if I'm not mistaken, just without even looking in front of it, I'm pretty sure Scottie Pippen, we're like the same height, 6'1", 6'2". Cam Spencer, Meshack, and I want to say Ty Jerome. Like I want to say Cam Spencer or Scottie Pippen are like the smallest players. Like if I'm looking at the main rotation guys, it's really Scottie Pippen. Like he's 6'1", and then everybody else is like 6'4". Like Ty Jerome 6'4", 6'5". Jalen Wells 6'8". Cedric Howard 6'6".
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Hendricks like 6'9", 6'10". Zach Edey 7 feet. Like everybody's big and physical. Like all these guys are big, and so like you can't really attack anybody. It's a real thing. You can kind of quote unquote attack Ty Jerome, but you really but he's gonna have a bunch of size and athleticism around him. So like that was kind of the emphasis. But like to your point about Ty Jerome, I don't think he's there. Like obviously, I don't think he's a long-term answer because he's on a 1 year. He only got one more year on his contract.
Yeah,
but I do think he's a good bridge type of player to the point where he has a good first half of the season and you can trade him at the deadline and get more assets back, or B, you can re-sign him for like some type of decent deal to where it's a tradable contract and you can trade him down the line to get a guy that's more ideal. Because I don't think he's their ideal archetype of guard they want for this next group, but he's a good player enough to where he's going to not take away from your players that you already got. If anything, like you said, he's going to elevate the players that you already have. And again, he's on like a cheap deal. Because that was the thing. Like, here's the thing too, just to bring up, I hate bringing up John Morant, but somebody be like, oh, we got rid of John Morant for Ty Jerome. He's not healthy. Well, you want to know something? Ty Jerome's on an $8 million contract. John Morant was making $40 million. It's not gonna hurt you if he's not healthy. He's more of an X factor than anything. But like like you said, he was good in his limited minutes, and that was with like me out there on the court, like randoms out there on the court, like for most of those games. Like please go watch those games. Like he had like 10-day guys with him, and he was still getting his game off.
Don't go watch those games.
Don't go watch some games.
Don't go watch those games. But I'll say the last thing.
Don't tell those people to do that, man.
Just watch the highlights, not the games. But
right.
Yeah, but like just to the point about the injuries, people don't realize like Ty Jerome and Zach Edey didn't play one single game together the whole year, not one.
That's
the same with Scottie Pippen. He didn't play one game with Zach Edey the whole year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been the story I feel like of the last 4 or 5 years for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, bro.
Oh yes,
they go into the year and being like, okay, this is going to be our starting five, and that starting five might play 3 games together the whole season or whatever it is. I feel that just really has felt like that's been the story since 2022 at this point. So yeah. But I will say the bad voodoo's gone now. So I'm hoping, and look, fingers crossed.
I mean, most of the players are going into the season healthy. Like I think the biggest point I asked me earlier too is that most of these guys came into the offseason injured and then like had to build up and grow and heal and then use in season. No, like all these guys are healthy day one from what it looks like at the very least. And that's a different look at the very least.
Yes, for sure. I 100% agree. Like you got Scottie Pippen going, like it was Scottie Pippen, like Brandon Clark, like it was like 3 guys that were coming in like the season injured, like but really Zach Edey, and then Ty Jerome got hurt in preseason. So like that's 3, like that's like 2 year starters and then another main rotation guy coming in. Whereas versus this offseason, like all of them should be projected to be playing right away as soon as preseason and training camp starts. So like that's a huge difference for how you want to start a build out. But really the main people for me, is Cedric Howard, Cameron Boozer, Zach Edey healthy? Are those 3 healthy? If they're healthy, I'm all in. We can figure out the rest later.
Right.
Just give me those 3 healthy and I can live with whatever else we got.
Fair. And this is slightly out of sequence, but I still think it's very relevant. So like I remember where I was, right? The Jaren Jackson trade, like I saw it coming, but the frequency of how fast it happened, I don't know where to wait, the Jazz are buyers when they try to lose these shitty boo boo. It was very weird.
Yeah,
how that worked out. But I'm like, that was like, all right, clearly all of the draft picks they wanted for Ja Morant, they're getting back in this deal. And they immediately, Adam Silver was like, y'all take so hard, so I'm going to flatten all the odds. So now y'all can't get a top 4. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. That was wild, bro.
No, it was crazy.
Wild.
It was crazy for me. But like, again, I'm big, like the lottery's rigged type of guy. And I still am. And I can explain how this lottery was rigged, but we benefited again, just like we benefited from Ja Morant. So I'm not too mad that we can't get a pick in next year's draft when the draft is not as strong as this one.
Okay.
But still, the principle of it is still like, bro, you could have, like, we made that trade before the rules came in. Like, you could throw
right.
it
Yeah. Like, right.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
But again,
the other thing is though, and I know this is not a Jazz episode. I feel like it's not going to be. I don't think they're going to be bad enough to where it'll matter that much at the end of the day. But we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
I hear you on that too. But I think to your point though, that's why this season is so important, because the context people are missing is Memphis was a team that was injured, traded 2 of their core players in season, and was actively trying to lose games. This is now a roster that has incentive to win games. The draft odds like now favor you if you're not the worst 3. So all that matters now is like you could be 8 seed, 9 seed, 7 seed, 10 seed. Just don't be a top 3 worst team, which means the overall league is going to be way more competitive. You'll see tanking for the teams that are like about to be in the play-in, but like slowly want to back out of it because that right, like you'll see it then. But in terms of the whole season, it should be on paper at least a more competitive product. And for Memphis at least, this is a team that is clearly trying to establish and build something. So the care that goes into that is going to be way bigger than what last year was, and that makes them a more dangerous team.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. And I think the other thing is like coming into this year, it reminds me a lot of like 2019 when Ja first came into the Grizzlies, where it's like, you know, there's not really high expectations around the league necessarily. People are excited to watch, you know, Cam Boozer this year, but they're like, they don't really know what the Grizzlies are going to be. And I think they have a chance to like surprise some people. And not say surprise some people. I don't think they're going to win 50 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I think it's one of those things where I think they do have a chance to surprise some people. Whereas, you know, I don't think they're going to be a team that wins less than 30 games or something. Like, I feel like around the league, there's a lot of people that probably didn't think that. I don't agree with that. So we'll see what ends up happening when it comes to the season. But I think, especially we talk about those 3 guys being healthy with Coward, Edey, and Boozer. If those 3 guys are healthy, I think, like, I don't think they're going to be. I actually think that part of the rule change will help them, because I think that's around the range they're going to be to where they might mess around and be fighting for the play-in.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, if you're a team that's hovering around the play-in spot, you have the best odds to get the number 1 pick. So it's like all Memphis got to do is just compete and be 10, 9, 11. It's like, oh, shit, here we go again. And then you right back. You know, now, I don't know too much about, like, the upcoming draft picks in this upcoming draft. I know that it is a weaker draft because this draft was, like, heavily talked about for years before it even happened. So this was a real deal draft for sure. But in any case, you're clear to, like, you have assets. That's the thing. You're not a team that has no assets. You have multiple ways I feel like you can do this. In my opinion, if Ty Jerome hoops, he's probably going to get, like, a 2-year extension. I can see that coming, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably what I think. And like the big thing, I guess you could say, like with the assets and things they already have, like I think they already have like 10 first round picks, and like
it's crazy.
It's like 12 second round picks. Like they have options, and that's what you saw with like OKC and even San Antonio, like teams that have been built up. They had those options to go do what they wanted with those picks. I'm not saying, because I always tell people they're not going to draft everybody with those picks. They're going to be using assets and things of that nature to kind of get the guys they want. And so like the new rule change kind of like allows them to kind of just be competitive because my thing was they were always going to be competitive. Like some people worried that the Grizzlies are going to tank. And even Zach Kleiman said, we're not a team that believes in losing every year. It's like,
yeah,
tanking every year. He knew what the draft was. Like he knew, hey, my dream prospect in Cam Boozer's in this draft. I'm gonna do whatever I can to try to get him. Like literally, if Jack Kleiman could build a prospect, would be Cam Boozer. So like he was gonna do whatever he could to get him. But like they didn't have no incentive to tank. Just also like I said, small market. But like Grizzlies have never really like full on been bad super long. Like if you go look at their history in Memphis, like they've never been a terrible team longer than like 3 years. Like it's usually like you're bad for 2 years or 3 years, and then they're back in the playoffs. So like that was so like with the new rule change, that helps. But also like you said, with the odds, they have 3 now. You're gonna see teams try to get hella picks in the same draft. Like I think we got like 3 firsts in this next draft. So let's say like I don't know, I forgot who the first are, but like let's say they're all in that range. Like you have a lot of different darts that could end up being like one of those end up being like a high pick. So. And my thing is, even if it's a smaller, weaker draft, Zach Kleiman is shown to be able to draft pretty well.
That's what I was gonna say. What makes it so dangerous with Bryson is that Memphis is shown we can pick. You pick Desmond Bane.
Yeah. And it's another thing talking about like those second round picks too. Is like they have done a really good job in finding value in those second round picks, and I think that's one of those things where, and I don't necessarily even just mean, drafting people. Like, obviously, you've drafted, Jalen Wells was a second-round pick. Cam Spencer was a second-round pick. G.G. Jackson. Going back to a couple years ago to guys who aren't there, but, they drafted a guy like Xavier Tillman, and in a playoff game, he was guarding Anthony Davis. Like, what I mean? And, stuff like that is, a lot of guys you don't get second-round picks that are doing stuff like that for a lot of teams, and they've consistently been able to do that. But Zach Kleiman has also proven that he can use those second-round picks in trades and stuff like in this offseason, like bringing in Isaiah Stewart, using some of those second-round picks that you got to do that. And I think just having that kind of ability to know that you have a formula that works for those later kind of, later round draft picks, and you can sit on that, or you can be like, okay, well, I can trade this, or I know that if I can find people that can bring value to my team later in the draft. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, because now with how college basketball works and everything, I do think the second round of the draft is going to be a lot worse. Like over the next few years, just because a lot of those guys that would be like 4 or 5 years ago, if you're a sophomore, you might come out and be like, oh yeah, I might get drafted this year. But now, if you're going to be a second round pick, you can probably stay in college and make a couple $100,000.
That's the difference. So yeah.
So that's why I'm like, maybe those second round picks will start to get a little less valuable. But I think if you have a formula to find those guys, they're still going to be there, especially the older guys, because it's going to be a lot of guys that, have now played 4 or 5 years that are in that second round.
Yeah, no, I 100% goes on that. Like, I think asset management, cap space, and draft scouting are going to be very, very important moving forward. But more than anything, cap space. And again, a huge part of why the Big Three is gone is, unfortunately, they got injured. Like, I'll never forget, after Jaren signed his contract, he hurt himself and missed the first, I think, 6 weeks of the season. Like they just couldn't really be healthy. And sadly, I feel like Jaren had to be traded just to get the value back from Ja Morant, because we knew Ja's value wasn't going to be there. So it was sad to see him go, because, again, he was actually, he started to play some of his better basketball, but it just had to, So, hey, that era's over now. I said this name earlier. I need to see buy-in from y'all on this name, because I noticed I said it, and we kept going. I got double back. What's up with G.G. Jackson? Are we going to get something this year or no? I'm listening to y'all.
Bryson, do you want to start it?
So. I can start it.
Okay. I
feel like at the back half of last season, in some of those games that, people weren't watching, I felt like he started doing and started figuring out what is going to get him on the court, right? Whereas, he figured out, oh, yeah, rotating on defense is going to keep me on the court. And it's stuff like that, where it's when he was 18 and he was, the team was basically just whoever that year, he was just going out there playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now it's kind of coming back and then having like a new coach and not really playing a lot like at the start of the year. And I was one of the people that was like, hey, I want to see Gigi play. And even Isalo, I said it was like Isalo had said that he was continue to progress and whatever. And then as the season came in, like when he got his chance, I saw more commitment to some of those little things that he wasn't committed to before.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm not gonna say that now he's all of a sudden just some now like all defensive player. Like I'm not necessarily saying that, but I'm just saying where it's like you see him making plays on defense and rotating, and trying to make the right pass, taking open shots, and not trying to go as one-on-one as much and stuff like that, and kind of trying to like understand what his role would be on a team and trying to play within the offense a little bit better. And I do think like at the second half of last year, he did a lot of that kind of stuff, and he has so much potential. Like he's just one of those guys that I feel like he has. He's still only 21 right now.
Yeah,
and he's not the youngest.
He's the longest tenured Grizzly as well.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is insane.
Wow, bro.
But
yeah, but like for me with Gigi, like my opinions obviously changed the last 2 years. Cause I was like, hey, I was big on like, hey, to start Gigi train. Cause I'm like, you see the talent, he fits well next to the guys that you had at the time with Ja, Jaren, and Bane.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, how things have changed out. I don't say my opinions changed on him being lower. Like I still think he can be a good player. I just think his role is kind of different. Like I don't think he'll ever for this roster at least. Like what Bryson was talking about, just like how they value the defensive side of basketball, just being connected. That's not really his role, like in terms of his best attributes. But I do think there is a world where he could be. I know this sounds like a crazy name because people can be like, it's not really a great player, but like he could easily end up being on this team, like and be like a Obi Toppin, like a rangy backup kind of combo scoring. Yeah, no, it's a good player. But I'm just saying, like that's the kind of role I could see him being, where he's a bench scorer. He's very athletic. He's good in transition. He's going to guard a little bit, but like he's going to be able to play next to other guys and get out in transition. Like that's what I think his role can be on this team. Yeah. Now with that said, though, because I do have, we're probably going to talk more about it, a little bit more about rotations. Like I think there's a clear top 9 on this team. Personally, for me, I think it's a clear top 9, and then there's like 10, 11,
like,
12.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Personally, I got Gigi like right outside of that because I'll say this.
Okay.
He played well at the end of last year, but I feel like the context is needed. He was not playing early on in the year. Like he was getting like DNPs, and this was like when he had injuries. Like, yeah, so like I want people to kind of temper their expectations because now they're like, oh well, now he's gonna be in the conversation to start. Like, no, I don't think if we're talking about anybody starting, it's gonna be Jalen Wells or Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
But I do think unless Gigi just somehow has an outlier development, like Bryson was saying, he's just bought in on the defensive end, then yeah, let's go. And then we're gonna be back. And if he's making shots, that's really the big thing. His shooting has to get back to what it was his rookie year, because you can't justify taking these ISO shots when you're not making them at a high clip, especially as a role player. So personally, I think he would be my 10th guy if I had to pick somebody. But like I do think he could move up the pecking order. Like I wouldn't be surprised by it, but just like I think he has to buy into more of what the team does, because he's, like you said, he's got upside and talent. But as we know, we've seen guys that have upside and talent, but in the league is about playing a role and fitting and being scalable. If you can't do that, you're not going to be able to find a place in the league where you can highlight your talents, because you need to buy into a role first, and then you'll be able to show what you can do. That's how that's how you've seen those star developments. Like you've seen Kawhi Leonard, you've seen a Paul George. Those guys were role players at first, but then once they got better and they got more leeway, then they were able to do things that that they worked on in the offseason. So like that's what he has to do to get on the floor. But I do think there's a good chance of it, because I don't think there's many forwards on this roster that are as athletic as him in theory, and just as skilled as him in theory. Like he could easily be a transition type of demon with Cam Boozer. It's just like that could be a world that could happen. But again, he has to understand that I have to do the little things. Like my scoring is not going to be what gets me on the floor, keep me on the floor. So doing the little things along with the scoring is what's going to get me paid, especially get him paid, because he is a free agent going into this year.
Yes,
so
he
like,
is.
yeah. So like he understands that he's going to have to play well and play within a role. And even if he doesn't get paid here, he'll get paid somewhere else. But I would like it to be here. Like, I don't have no problem keeping Gigi, but I just think he has to buy into the team concepts and doing the stuff that role players need to do versus what, a quote unquote star player needs to do. But I do think there's a good chance he can do that.
This is why I brought his name up, because when I was watching again, he was not playing. And I saw him progress a little bit towards the end of the season. But again, like what he was doing at 18 years old and 19 years old, it's like he was breaking records with LeBron and Anthony Edwards' name in it. Like that, like I don't want to say that was a random outlier flash in the pan thing with him. I think he genuinely has talent. And my thing is this. I think I would be closer to him not really playing real minutes on his team if Cam Boozer wasn't on the team. I generally think just having a guy in the front court who can make plays and have the high IQ feel he had can maximize him a lot. Because I think to be fair to Gigi, he's played on a broken team that hasn't had real structure for 2 years now. And I think that like this year, they're going to try to bring that back in and have a true outlier order. Like, no, this is exactly, I would say, how things are going. And then also, there's going to be competition because, again, I'm sorry, Taylor Hendricks, to me, that's what the organization is really believing in because he does the small things. Like, I think day one, he will be a good defensive player. He's also very lanky. Now, the shot, listen, it comes down to who's making shots, dead ass.
Yeah.
I don't,
Bro.
like who gonna hit, you know?
Yeah, and that to go back to my rotation, that's kind of where I'm at. Whereas between Gigi, Omax, and Taylor Hendricks, who makes the most threes out of that group? Whoever makes the most threes out of the group is going to get
probably got
spot.
it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's literally what it's going to be.
Yeah,
to me, because if you make the most, like if Omax is making the most shots, he's going to play. Because the top 9 is like I said, to me, it's kind of set. They need another one of those wing forward bigs to kind of like, or one of those rangy wings to kind of take the reins. So they need a guy that can fit next to guys because that's ultimately what it's about.
Yes.
Who are the best players that are going to fit around Cam Boozer, Cedric Kawasaki? If you don't fit,
and you know what you're going to get on a night-in basis consistently. Yes. Like that's the thing.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Which is why Omax is, to me, might be the favorite because he plays hard and does the little things off the rip.
Right.
Like he's going to play.
Yeah.
And he was making shots. Like I never thought he was going to be this good of a shooter, but like I think he's actually improved and like that might be real. I'm not saying he's going to be like 40%. But can you make league average? Can you give me 36% on like 3 attempts? Like if you do that, oh my god! Like
I ain't gonna lie, Bryson. I'm trying to not fall for it, but I'm telling you, the shit I see Taylor Hendricks do in the summer league, this motherfucker was making pull up threes, shoot. Like he was looking stupid in summer league. But it's summer league though.
No, it's summer league. There's a lot of guys do that in summer league, and but I think Taylor Hendricks is gonna be a good player, and I think they have a lot of like. I think the thing about this team is like. Obviously you got Boozer coming in, but on this, like you don't have really on this roster, you don't have like, okay, this is the guy necessarily, right? There's a lot of good pieces, and I feel like Hendricks kind of falls in that, and I think that's why, like, I'd be interested to see what your top 9 is as well. We can talk about that,
okay,
but like
cool.
I think, but I think that I don't know. The other thing that I'm going to be interested to see is how they play the whole Jeremy Grant thing.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, too.
Yeah.
Because there's one side where it's like, okay, he's making like 30-something million, so we might just throw him out there to start. And then there's the other side of being like, or would I rather have more of my young guys playing together in a starting lineup rather than having Jeremy Grant out there? So it's kind of like what you...
I think he's getting traded mid-season because I'm pretty sure his contract is expiring, right? Like, there's going to be teams that have value in that, right?
Yeah, it will be expiring going into next summer. So next summer he'll be an expiring. Yeah, but still, either trade deadline or the next offseason, I think he's traded because that's just a contract that's expiring. Yeah. So I do see that. I will always say it because like with the Jalen Wells thing, people were giving Jalen Wells a lot of crap last year. I'm just like, bro, the team was bad. Like, and he didn't have no star players. He's a role player, so like he needs star players to play off of. So like, and so my thing is this: like, he's a guy that I think because at first I'm like, I told people I'm like the replacement. This is before the trade. I was like, bro, Jalen Wells is going to probably start because there's nobody on this roster I think is going to start over him. They brought Grant in, so I was like, well, he might start, and I was like, I thought he was going to start. Then I thought about it. The more I thought about it, like to Bryson's point. I think they're going to value having a guy like Jalen Wells probably in that lineup because he's already been in that lineup. Like Jalen Wells showed that he could play a role when this team was actually competitive. Like when they were before the rails went off in 24 last year.
Yeah.
Triple trade deadline, he was a starting player next to John Morant, Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane, and was playing pretty well. Like he's first team all rookie. So like they saw him in a winning situation. And so that's why they understand they're probably gonna be like, and he plays. Like obviously he hasn't finished seasons because of some like last year he got knocked out the air, or his first year he got knocked out the air, and then this year it was some like foot injury. But like if you go look at his basketball reference, he's played like 70 games every year and started every game. Like that matters in this league. Like guys that are available and productive. Like, and so for me, I'm not saying he's the same type of player, but like for this team, if I wouldn't be surprised if they view him as a type of guy like who's on Indiana, Andrew Nimhart, where he was like starting like the first 2 years, 3 years, where you know you're like he's a good player, this and that, but he was available and productive, and he continued to get better, and he was a second round pick. And so I do think that's kind of like the kind of how I view him. Like I think they're going to keep him in that starting lineup. But with Grant, I just think like he could be a really good bench scorer, which I think they're going to need anyway, because you're going to need, because I think you want to keep your lineups balanced. Like you don't want too much scoring in your first starting lineup, but you also don't want no scoring you bench. And I think like him playing with like Scotty and Cam Spencer and Isaiah Stewart, Jaren Grant, like will give them some stability off the bench to where they can, you know, where like even if like a young guy's having a bad night, you have actual veteran guys that can step up. Because that was always the complaint last era. Like I'm like,
it's important.
Yeah, this is not like like you had like Zaire Williams and that Jake LaRave. You had all these young guys, but you never had a vet next to him. And then the one vet you had was like 6'3" and like so. My biggest thing is, and I think Zach Kleiman learned from that. Like we need vets on this team, like playable vets. Like we don't need to be super young all the time. Like we can be young, but like you need real NBA players that played at least 4 or 5 years and know who they are.
Right.
And I think now you look at this roster now, they have legit guys versus last era. You starting out with like, I remember I was having a conversation with
it was only Adams basically.
Yeah. Like I'm just talking about like started a rebuild. Like I think we were talking about like we had like Solomon Hill and like Gorgie Jang and like Jay Crowder. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was the starting lineup next to John Jaren, like Jay Crowder and Dylan Brooks and Jonas Valanciunas. And they're not bad players, but like, no, Jeremy Grant averaged more points than all those guys like combined, like those wing players combined like the last couple. Now his defense is hit or miss, but like he was a real decent player, at least for Portland in a confined role. Like I don't see why he couldn't do that here. And like you said, like he probably might get traded anyway, but like again, he's another good bridge guy to where, you know, he's not going to hurt your roster like on an off court standpoint or on an on court standpoint. Like I don't think he's going to be mad about not starting. Like he understands. Like he's a vet. He understands. Like
he's paid.
These guys, he's paid. Yeah, he's paid. Like why am I going to complain? I'm still going to play 25 minutes and get like 10 shots, and we might win. We might win more games. So I'm cool. So yeah, I think that role for him will be good. Like it'll be ideal.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that too. And the thing you said about Jalen Wells got a lot of heat. I think Jalen Wells has got a lot of heat because he's not Desmond Bane. Like honestly, like
cook up, Bryson.
No, it's just like a lot of people wanted to see him take a leap to where he was like, oh, is he gonna be like more of an on-ball threat and like kind of stuff like that? And that's just not really what his role had been. And I think that's something that I think maybe like this year he might have a chance to kind of like expand on that a little bit, just because you don't like, you know, the pecking order necessarily hasn't been set completely yet. And like if he's in that starting lineup, he's gonna have his chances with the ball in his hands too. And you know, I don't always look at like these little pro-ams, but I was looking at his little highlight from the pro-am the other day, and I was like, okay, he was making some moves that I didn't necessarily know he had in his bag. So that was a good sign. That's a good sign. So yeah, I'm excited about Jalen Wells, but I think I would also lean on probably not starting Jeremy Grant just because like the chemistry thing of wanting the guys that we think are going to be on the team long term together to get as many reps together as possible. And then it's going to come down to like, is there a way that I can have Wells and Coward in the lineup together too? You know, and I think that's something they're going to, because it's like And it's also going to come down to, are they going to play Ty Jerome and Scottie Pippen Jr. together? Are they going to start one of them? They're going to start Ty at point. You know, there's a lot of things that they can do with how the roster is set up. So it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do. But I think they have more versatility, I feel like, in the lineups than they've had in the last couple years.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like way more versatility.
I think having Cam off of your bench, like, it's crazy because Cam low-key has an argument to be the best passer on the team. I don't mean Boozer. Like
Spencer.
Bro, Cam Spencer be getting like listen, man. I'm seeing like, damn, he had 14 assists with 8 triple double threat. Still, I'm like, hold on. Off the bench is kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's solid. I like Javon Small a lot too. Very, very fast. Like these guys have to be healthy. That's the biggest thing for me. But who's y'all starting 5 then? Like, what's the best 5 day one you want them to have out there?
Oh yeah, I got it in front of me. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be Ty Jerome.
Yeah.
Starting at the 1. It's gonna be Coward and Wells at the wing, and there's gonna be Edey. And I say that because if you go look at Zach Edey's games when he played, you can kind of see the makings of the team. You can kind of see what they're kind of gonna look like with this group, because not to say Jaren and Boozer are the same player, but Jaren was out there, Wells was out there, and Coward was out there, and then the point guard was whoever. But you saw the core kind of four, not core 4, but like 4 guys where you're like, basically just replace Boozer with Jaren, and you could see the makings of how that team looks in terms of just how they play. Because in those games, like, you can see there were times where Jaren was playing in pick and roll with Zach Edey, like, and was getting him some assists or getting him some easy buckets. Yeah. And then you saw Cedric Howard and Jalen Wells play off each other. So now you're just basically replacing Boozer with that, and you're probably replacing him with not better player, but a more ideal player for what they need. Those type of players need. Like, they need a playmaker, a guy that can just kind of put them in the spots.
Definitely a better playmaker.
People don't understand. People don't understand how, like I think Chris Harrington said this. Cam Boozer's the best playmaking front court player they've had since Marc Gasol. And if you literally, like, people don't understand. Like, we watched Jaren for 7 years, love Jaren to death. Got 2 jerseys, like, love Jaren. As soon as he saw a double, it was curtains. Like,
it got spooky.
It got spooky. Like, he's either traveling or he's making a skip back. Now, he improved, but not to the point where he was ever going to be. Like, you know, some people can improve as a playmaker, but sometimes they just, either you're just an average playmaker or you just have that, either you have it or you don't. Some people just can't get it.
Right, yeah.
Like, Boozer, like, you saw it in Summer League. Like,
he got it, bro.
As soon as he's catching it at the elbow or like the little short corner area, it's his pride, he's high level process, like
high level processor. Like, yep.
He's catching and he sees the guy helping on the low man, like he saw the low man on the block, he's making that skip. Like,
you got Zach Edey, who's going already be taller than pretty much every other big.
Exactly. So now you have to pick your poison. That's the thing about Boozer that I get it. We can get into it, but like, he's such a chameleon. Like, you can put him in screen and roll as a screener or as a roll, like, as a pick and roll ball handler or as a screener. You can play him catch and shoot. Like, he can do everything. Like, you can basically say this with Boozer in that starting 5. Hey, Boozer, you can run pick and roll with any of these guys, and you probably gonna get a cross match. But really, we'll come down with the Edey, because like let's say you were just running with the Edey pick and roll. Okay, so you're gonna have to leave something open. They're gonna respect, like, Edey has real gravity. If you go watch him, he got real gravity on. They're gonna have to respect him on the roll, and if they're gonna respect him on the roll, now you're kicking out to 3 guys that can shoot the ball. So you got to basically pick your poison. So I think that starting 5 is going to be like not crazy. Like, I think they're gonna have some defensive problems because Ty Jerome and Boozer. I think Boozer will be solid defensively, but you could run into some matchups where just guys are just too young. Like, so, but I think offensively though, that group fits like a glove. Like, they're gonna be moving the ball. Like, it's going to be like seamless basketball. It's going to fit more of what Isolo wants anyway. Yeah. But
you need Jalen Wells to be knocked down, bro. If he's knocked down on top of Coward, it's woo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's the big thing for Wells. Like, the creation's whatever for me, but can you get your 3-point percentage like 2 percentages higher? Because the last 2 years he's been like, because that's the thing. People be like, oh, Jalen Wells can't shoot. I'm like, he can shoot, but he's not a shooter. He needs to get to above league average on catch and shoot. Like, he shoots like 35-ish, 36%. Overall, but then I think on catch and shoot, the first year he shot like 38, and his last year dipped. But my point is, if he can get to like 37, 38 and just plays the defense that he played in the first year and even signs in the second year, that's fine enough because now teams are going to have to respect that. And now, because I think you're going to run into a point where in that starting five where they're going to ask Boozer to kind of like teams are going to start being like, hey, Boozer, you got to go play one-on-one because we don't want you having to pick apart our defense. That's his best attribute is passing. Like, we don't want you seeing two because that's what it's about in the NBA.
They don't want enhanced shot quality. They don't want that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, once you get two on the ball in this league, you can start picking apart defenses real quickly. So, like, and you don't want to give a guy like Boozer who's 6'8", 6'9", 250, physical, and as skilled as him, all that, like, you see in a double. He's just going to pick you apart. I saw it in summer league. And because he only averaged like 4 assists, but he ended, like, if he played with real, no disrespect, if he played with like real NBA players, shot makers, he would average like 6 assists, 7 assists.
No disrespect, because everybody's trying to get to it. I respect it. But, bro, I promise you, it was any place where it's like, wait, he seen that skip? And they just sold it. I'm like, they sold his ass. But that skip was good, though. I remember that skip. That was a good skip.
Bro, yes.
There was a couple of those, man. I feel like, and that's the thing I'm really excited to see, too. And Alice, it's really funny you said that starting five, because that's the starting five that I came up with, too.
Okay.
When I was thinking about it. Because now the big questions for me came with, do I want to start Scottie Pippen Jr. or not? That was the first question I thought, because I was like, okay, you could possibly start Scottie and Ty together, but I was like, I don't know if I like starting them together. Whereas I still really like, and it's not because I don't think Scottie Pippen Jr. is not a start. I think Scottie Pippen Jr. is a starting level point guard. Like, I think he very well could do that, but I think for the way that the team is set up right now, it is better for him to like be the guy running the second unit.
Right.
Like, I think that's better for the team because with the first unit, it's like you have Ty Jerome, you have, Jalen Wells and Cedric Howard can start together, and they got, that size and on the defensive end and on the wings and everything like that. And then you also have Cam Boozer that we're talking about as a playmaker in that lineup, to where it's like, I don't think that lineup needs another playmaker. But like, I think that bench unit is going to need another playmaker, and I think that's where Scottie Pippen Jr. is going to be like really important. But yeah, I think that starting five is going to be really good. And then I also thought, I was like, are we going to start Jalen Wells or are we going to start Jeremy Grant? And I would rather see Jalen Wells, or just because I don't want Jeremy Grant to be in the way, I guess, kind of is what I'm saying.
I get you. Yeah. Me personally, I think I have the same lineup too. My thing, at least day one, in terms of who should go between Grant and Wells. I'm sorry, to me, it's like, brother, who's hitting shot? Like, listen, in a lot of these lineups, if you hitting shots, you're gonna play more. You're gonna start. Like, I keep it. Now, listen, in terms of like overall development, obviously Wells will make more sense. But I'm just saying, if you're trying to like win games early on, you can develop off the bench. It's very, very doable. And this is a team that is reestablishing their newfound, I would say, identity. And here's my thing too, right? Even if you have guys who can shoot but aren't like elite at it, what boosts that is if they're open shots. And I think they're just going to generate more open shots because of their front court.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing. Like, I feel like, look, we talked about the Grizzlies. We talked slightly about Cam Boozer, but I don't think people realize how good Cam Boozer. I didn't either. I did, but I didn't. Because I knew you've heard about Cam Boozer for years. But the thing is, you can
see it in Summer League crazy. And I know it's just Summer League, but there's a couple things that always show bro. Processing translates.
Yeah, process.
That translates, bro. It do.
Processing, like I told people, like, because my thing was going into, like, since we're talking about Boozer, like, going into the year for me, and I knew we were kind of like could tank, but this was also when Jaren was still on the roster, so my mindset was kind of like, I want one of the other two guys because there could be more like a go-to, quote-unquote go-to guy, right? But then you have to go back and watch Cam Boozer's high school film, which is why I tell people you got to go back and look, because he was doing more of the stuff that you would want your kind of go-to guy to do. Like, he was taking more mid-range jump shots, playing more in the post, like in terms of like creating like post phase, like had more of a intermediate game. At Duke, it was just threes and layups for the most part.
Right.
So But when you really go like, but really once we got number, I already knew, I felt like we got Boozer, but I watched like shout out to Sam Vecini, like he has his little Substack and all that, like where he broke down games. If you watch those games, like I was doing, I don't know how much Cam Boozer I watched in that month, but like literally, like he's dead ass like telling people where to go, like offensive, like as a point guard. Like he's not the point guard, but like he's like, hey, you need to be here, hey, you need to be there. Like he was already doing that in summer league, like, and so like you were saying, like with the playmaking, like he's gonna put people in spots easily to the point where you're just gonna flow. Like you're not gonna have to worry about like, because I know Bryson was saying like they don't have a lot of people knowing who their team, like, you know, like it's nobody's team yet.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's gonna be like this is what it feels reminiscent of. I can't remember who it was. Oh, it was Gigi Jackson. We were basically talking about like Boozer, watching Boozer, and he was like, at first I'm like, he's gonna be setting screens for me. Then I watched him and he was like, oh wait, I'm actually gonna be probbly setting screens for him.
I'm gonna be setting screens
like
for him, right?
Yeah. And I was basically said on Twitter, basically is the reminiscent. He's not gonna be this player, obviously, but like I don't know if people seen the clip where like LeBron was going to Cleveland at first, and it was like Carlos Boozer and Darius Miles and all them. They're like, well, he's gonna have to fit in with this group.
Yeah.
No, buddy, he's the franchise. Like, and that's what I think is gonna happen very soon. You're gonna be like, oh, this is the whole team, this and that. No, we're gonna get to like December and we're like, yeah, this Boozer's team. I'm not saying he's gonna be like leading them in points or nothing.
Yeah.
But you're gonna be like, yeah, but you're gonna be like, he's touching the ball every possession. Like even in summer league, he wasn't touching it enough. I'm like, why are we not getting Boozer a touch here? Like
Yeah,
just
the same way.
Yeah, like
Yo, it's funny as because me and Bryson were watching these games together. We like, dog, they not getting him the ball. Like, what's up? And he was cool with it though. Which I'm like, man, fuck that. Like, go get the ball.
No.
Like,
yeah,
you know.
And that's my thing. And that's my thing with Boozer is that, which I like about him. Which again, like you were talking about identity. This team already has a set kind of identity, and it's, to me, I always say it's kind of like more like the identity I grew up. Like again, I'm 27, so I grew up with the grit and grind Grizzlies. Like some of these fans didn't grow up with those Grizzlies. This team is more like that team where their main things are they're going to be physical, they're going to be unselfish, they're going to play winning basketball, high IQ level basketball. Your best three players do that, and that's the thing with Boozer. He's not going to be like a guy that's like, I got to get my 20 shots. Like he's going to be perfectly fine with, if they're doubling me, I'm going to just pass this whole game and get my shots when I need to. And again, I do think, like you said, there will be a time where he develops as a scorer, because I think that's the really biggest question for him upside wise. How good can he become as a scorer? Where he's going to have to be like, I have to take me taking this shot is better than such and such taking this shot, even if it's like more of a wide open shot. I need to create this offense. So I think he'll get to a point like that, but at least for year one, I think there will be like games where, that's why I don't think he might be like, this team won't have like some crazy leading scorer where it's like they're 25 a night, but you have a bunch of guys in the teens, whereas you have a guy like averaging 17, 16 points. Like all those guys will be, because there'll be a night where Boozer only averages, like has like 14 points, but he ends up having damn near a triple double, if not a triple double, because you have so many offensive weapons on this team, and he's not going to care about only getting 8 shots, because he cares about winning. Like literally, that's all he cares about. Like, and he plays like that. So yeah, I mean, look, like I said earlier, like this is Boozer. If Zach Kleiman could literally make his dream prospect of like on and off the court, like how he wanted his franchise to be, like a player to be built around, it became Boozer. He's even said it after the press conference, like after the draft. He's like, for everybody that thought he was our guy, he was, but we were glad, like, because they didn't really say it, but you knew it. Everybody knew it. Like the analytically based front office, they, Booth, like they knew that. And so he was like, yeah, he was our guy. So like, yeah, like I'm super excited because I already know like there's not going to be any, like I don't have to worry about Boozer doing something stupid. Like on and off the floor, like I know what I'm going to get. Like I feel pretty comfortable with him not doing whatever, but like if they say, hey, we're going to give you the keys right away, I don't have any problems with it. Like I know what we're going to get. So
yeah, it's funny that Alex said that too, Bryson, because I was going to ask you, like, who do you think actually leads this team in points?
Ooh. Yeah, go for it, Bryson.
Yeah, that's a good question, because there's a lot of options. There's a chance it's like Zach Edey. Like there's
that
honestly
is low-key possible.
Zach Edey.
I would be shocked.
I could also see Ty Jerome leading in points and it being like 19 or something like that. Like you know what I mean? Like but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. Like I really don't know, and I think that's the thing going into the season. It's like, and that's kind of like talking about the pecking order necessarily hasn't been set yet, but it's like, obviously Boozer's going to get a lot of touches, Coward's going to get a lot of touches, and I think that when they're in the game, even guys like Gigi Jackson are going to have chances when they're in the game. But not to say they're going to lead the team in scoring, but I think there's a chance they have a lot of guys that are averaging double figures because we know the way Isolo rotates guys, they're going to have a lot of guys coming in and out. There's going to be a lot of guys playing a good amount of minutes. So they're going to have a chance to have a pretty balanced attack. But yeah, I would say Ty Jerome, Zach Edey, Cam Boozer. Those are my top three for who would be the leading scorer.
Okay.
Those are your top three. I guess for me, with Zach Edey, it's not really a question of the talent. I just think how the NBA's played and how we're going to be playing. I don't think they're going to throw the ball into him like that. Like, I think he's going to be featured, but I think it's going to be more screen and roll and hit post up here and there where it's a mismatch. But I do think he'll be like third or fourth. Like, I think he's going to average probably where he was at, like 14 to 15 points a night. Personally, I think you could see Ty Jerome. I personally think how based just going off of Summer League and how I think they're boosting this team up is going to be either Cedric Coward or Cam Boozer. And it's not going to be like a big margin too. Like, I'm not saying like they're going to average like 20. Yeah. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if both of them are averaging like 17, 16 points a night. Like, that's what I kind of see because I think those are going to be the two guys. If we're allocating minutes, I think they're both are going to play the most minutes on this team. Like,
right.
I think both of those will be probably the only two guys I would say that are going to play like 30 minutes legitimately on this team because like to Bryson's point, like, I don't think they're going to have so many guys that are playing high minutes because they're going to be kind of spread evenly out because that's how Tomas kind of rotates. And I'm not saying like, it's going to be a drastic where everybody's playing 20 minutes, but like, your top 8 to 9 guys, at least, there'll be certain games where the minutes look kind of crazy, but I mean, if they're playing well enough, it's going to be fine. But like, yeah, I would say those are probably like, or probably, I would say, I guess I probably going to say Boozer. Just because I think like you to the point that we're talking about, he's a legit shooter. Like, and if I don't know if y'all saw the clips recently, but like
he a legit shooter, bro.
Yeah. And the thing is, I told people like his shot prep got quicker, and he even said it. He wants to shoot 40% from 3, and I think he understands like as in the NBA, he knew he's gonna have to play more of a perimeter based game, which is why I think he's so focused on the shooting because I think if he's gonna get to like high stardom levels, it's gonna be because I'm not saying he's taking like 10 threes a game, but again. Different players, but I'm just talking about stats wise, comp wise. If we're talking about like if he can get to all NBA player, I tell people to go look at like Julius Randle's like years in. He averaged like 24, like 10 and like 6, and he was taking like 6 threes a night and making like 37%. Like that's what you kind of want the comparison to kind of be. Not as a player. Again, when you throw in the film, it's 2 different players. I'm talking about stats. That's what I kind of see if you want to talk about Boozer, and I think. He has to take a high end amount of threes, especially because you got Zach Edey who doesn't take. So he's gonna have to spread the floor. So I think it's gonna be games where he's gonna easily just walk to like 16 to 18 a night because he's so good on and off the ball. And he's gonna be involved in every action that I think he naturally be the leading scorer. Now I'm not saying he's gonna it's gonna be like by 1 point, but like I would say probably it's him, then it's Coward, and then the third probably is like Ty Jerome, and then. Exactly. That's probably how I'd say the top 4 kind of shakes out.
All right, so I'm ready on my logic. I got Ty Jerome, and my reasoning in it is I think Ty Jerome is probably the most skilled ball handler of the starters. I think he's going to have the ball more in spots. Also, he can definitely shoot. He can also catch the ball and shoot, and he can shoot off of the dribble. Like, I just think he's the most comfortable at getting to his shot off the bounce. And I think because of that and the reps, and also the fact that, like, he had a cap of 21 minutes and was putting up 18 points, 20 points. Like, he's the most explosive scorer in your lineup, in my opinion. I think potential-wise, if Cedric Coward can, like, really get comfortable with post-game fall-away shots, even more three-pointers, which... That's his thing for sure. Like, I think the variance of that will definitely get him out there. But I just feel like to lead a team in scoring, you need variance and you have to have the ball in your hands and you have to be comfortable getting to it like that. I normally would go Cam Boozer, but I feel like he's gonna be okay with having 15 points as long as the ball's going everywhere. Like he's gonna be the guy that like actively controls the game, and some nights he'll have 25, and then some nights he'll have maybe 8 points or 12 points. But the impact is gonna always be on the choices he's making on the basketball court. So to me, that's why like I don't think he's gonna lead this team in points per se. But I just lean Ty Jerome because again, like ball handle is so important. Like that is where you get to every action.
Yeah, and I do agree with that because I think that's where kind of separate when you talk about why they lose close games or win close games is going to be because they're guys like you said. Ty Jerome is the X factor because I do think Coward and Boozer will be comfortable in spots, but I don't think they're going to be consistent for 82 games.
Right,
getting the last shot. So you're going to need somebody that is comfortable doing that because they're still growing into it. Like Coward's going to be in year 2, Boozer's still 19. So like. Unless, and granted, if I'm wrong this year, they're gonna be better than expected.
Yeah,
but like,
absolutely.
Yeah, so, but like Ty Jerome, I think is like you said, is comfortable with that because he's done it the last basically 2 years. Like when he even in Cleveland when Garland was out, then he would just be on the ball and start. And then last year, like he even in those limited games, he was very comfortable. And like you said, especially as a ball handler, he is easily the best ball handler in there. And like you said, with how we saw with the NBA playoffs and the postseason, like. Your best ball handlers or shot creators are going to get the touches. So I definitely can see a world where he does it. I think it's more, I'm not saying that he can't. It's more so like you said with I think he might be comfortable with it. Not necessarily like taking 8 shots, but like he's not going to be like, I need my 20 shots here. So I think it's really, that's why I say it's going to be so razor thin. Yeah. Like even if Ty Jerome's the lead scorer, it might be like by like 0.5 points. Like it might be something so crazy, like so small because like, Bryson was saying there's going to be so many double-digit scores, at least in my opinion, because, again, like, they're going to play so selfless. Like, they're not going to care about who has 20 shots. Like, nobody is getting paid yet. Like, there's people that are up for contracts getting paid soon, like Zach Edey's extension next summer or Ty Jerome. Like, you have some people that want to get paid, Gigi Jackson, but they're not going to be like, I got to get paid. They're going to be like, if we play winning basketball, pay. Like, they're not going to say, let me get my numbers. Like,
and listen, I'm sorry, but to add to Bryce's point, bro, like, what's really scary is, again, when you have Boozer and Ty Jerome as passers, Zach Edey could walk to 18 points a game very easily, bro.
No,
like I'm not going like
especially when you also add in how many putbacks and stuff he's going to be.
That's what I'm saying, Bryson.
Yeah. And that's why I said they're going to have to pick their poison because it's like, are we just going to let Zach Edey just dominate the whole game, or are we going to let these shooters kill us at the whole game? Like, that's why I think their offense is just going to be so damn seamless because, like, what are you going to do? Like, if, like I said, I think Cam Boozer needs to develop, but, like, what if he just comes in like, hey, I can just bring up whoever in these ball screens. Like, I can do that at 6'8", 6'9", 250. And, again, he's going to have some moments where he can't create, but, like, I'm going to get my mismatch, and I'm going to have to force you to make a decision.
And then if you double team, I'm going to throw that pass.
Yeah, I'm going to throw that pass.
Yeah.
And then with Zach Edey, it's like, oh, I got a bunch of passers and shooters around me.
Yeah.
Oh, so I can just set you a screen and I'm probably gonna be wide open.
That's what makes that shit so scary because he can actually get the ball.
Exactly. Or I'm gonna be in the dunker spot and I can just be there. Like it could be very scary. Like you're gonna be some games you'll be like, how did the Grizzlies do it? And you're just gonna watch him like, okay, I can see how they're like dominating because like it's like they got so much offensive talent and it's talent that fits. They're all scalable. They're not, like I said, not chasing shots and they all dribble pass, shoot for them. So like that's which is basically what the modern NBA is. So you want that, and it's gonna be fun. There are gonna be some games where they score like 100. Damn, that's crazy. Because I remember when Grit and Grind couldn't get me 100 points, and these score like 120, and they do the Grit and Grind stuff. They're gonna be top 10 in rebounds, probably top 10 in assists. Like again, or like especially like they're gonna do like I know people like to say like last gen was like modern Grit and Grind or modern G&G, whatever. This is really that. Like they're gonna be like extra possessions, physical. Yeah. They're gonna play selfless basketball, but it's gonna be the modern version of it.
If they run more, they can really get they can run up off that.
And I think they are because I think people don't like you said Boozer moves better than giving credit for. Edey moves better than giving credit for because I thought he was gonna be slower, but then once he really slimmed down, going into his rookie season, then last year he slimmed down and got stronger. He moves better than what giving credit for. So people think we're just gonna be some slow team. I'm not saying they're gonna be like number one in pace. I don't expect that, but I think they'll be really good in transition because, like, even like Boozer is such a great outlet passer and good rebounder.
Yes, he is.
Like, yeah, all you gotta do is go out and run. Like we saw this. Like,
and he not afraid to throw him either. Like he be ready to risk that.
He threw a couple touchdown passes.
Yes,
he did. Yes, he did. Bryson, yeah.
I was just gonna bring it up, and this is what I was talking about the passing. I think it was like I think it was either the semifinal. It was one of those games where he caught the rebound, like, and he wasn't even like really turned right all the way, but he saw the corner, like his peripheral vision.
Same motion. He caught the rebound.
Just threw it. Just threw it. I'm just like, yeah, like that could be you, and you could do that in like easily, like with the group that you have now. Because again, like Coward can get out and run. Like these guys are going to be so like it could be like again. I think there's going to be some like Boozer's going to break a lot of crazy records like just in the Grizzlies thing. Like, for youngest player to do this, youngest player to do that. But I wouldn't be surprised if we look back and like Boozer's already got like I don't know how many like 3 or 4 triple doubles in the season. Like I would not be like stunned by that at all.
Right.
Like if he's already, you're like, damn, he already got, because that's why most people got him as like rookie, the favorite, quote unquote, because he's going to have a chance to do what he kind of wants to. And the fact that you have so many options like this, it can get really, it's going to be hard to guard. Because that's why I tell people, like you said, that's how people are sleeping because they didn't see this whole group last year.
They ain't watching it all. Like,
so they just look at the 28 wins and be like, oh yeah, like this is not really a good team. No, they didn't barely play together. And now you're adding a top 3 pick specifically a top 3 pick where the other 2 along with him will go number 1 in half of the last decade draft.
Yeah.
You go look at the last 10 years, half of those drafts, in my opinion, they probably going number. So like you got one of those guys now.
Yeah. For sure.
So like, yeah, it could get very like you could really easily be good very fast. And people are gonna be like, man, I'm surprised. I'm not surprised.
So like if I had to play devil's advocate, Bryson, right? And that's the thing of like things that'll hold this team back. And again, like I'd love to hear from you on this part of it too. Like I think the main thing is if a team has to pick their poison, the poison they're gonna live with is letting Memphis shoot the ball and pray that the variance works out in their favor. And that's where the rebounding effort is gonna be critical for Memphis to, I would say, generate more plays basically. But like you need your guards who are not named, I would say Ty Jerome, to like hit shots from that wing, that corner, all that stuff. Because when they're doing that, that opens up even more room for your bigs. But what are some other areas you think this team really needs to address if they're going to actually be like a much better team than people think?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing that I would say, and it's not really like a thing to address, it's just like a reason why it might not go well, is just because you are counting on multiple guys taking a step forward, right?
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
What we know in the NBA is progression is not linear. Like, progression is not linear in the NBA. So it's like we're counting on Cedric Coward to take a leap, and we saw it in Summer League where he had some games where you were like, "Oh, I see it," and then he had some games where he didn't. Like even in Summer League where he didn't look great. True. You know what I mean? So I think just because of the young team, there's going to be the ups and downs of like, oh, it's the fourth quarter, and what's going to happen when we get to the fourth quarter, and it's like the only person who's really been in the situation is like Ty Jerome.
Right.
And all these other guys are kind of just like trying to figure it out as they go. And I think that's going to be the main thing of like just a young team having some of those like growing pains of like, I think Cam Booster's going to be great, but he's going to go through the same rookie stuff all the other rookies go through, where he's going to have some games where he struggles and he's going to have to figure out the grind of playing 82 games and like all that. I think that's all stuff that they're going to have to navigate. And then I think the other thing would be like maybe just a lack of guards that put like a lot of pressure on the rim.
Yeah.
Just because like fair. I think, Ty Jerome, can do it a little bit. That's not really what he's out there for. Scottie Pippen Jr. can drive, but he's also undersized. And then it's like you get like to Javon Small, Cam Spencer. So it's like you don't have a lot of those guards that really put like a lot of pressure on the rim. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works when they're running those pick and rolls and stuff like that, especially when you're coming from, you've had the Ja Morant of like, even though he hasn't really played, that's the other thing. So it's like he hasn't played a lot. So, but it's like that's how the offense was kind of run, was based around a guard that could do that. But I think that would be the one thing that I think maybe if they do go in the draft, because I don't think they have their point guard of the future on the roster yet. That's just what I think. So
that's fair.
I think that's something that's something they would probably either address in the draft in the future or through a trade or something like down the line. But yeah, I think that's the one thing. But and then just the NBA today, it really just comes down to hitting shots. So you're like I said, you're counting on a lot of guys kind of taking leaps in terms of their shooting. Like you're hoping Jalen Wells shoots the 3-ball better, Cedric Howard shoots the 3-ball better. You're also kind of hoping that Cedric Howard is going to take, kind of like, I don't know, like a playmaking and kind of like ball handling and being able to score, like shot creation jump.
Right.
That, like we say, you're counting on him doing that, and it's like he might do it, and it's like the whole thing of like people chasing the next Kawhi Leonard and people being like, oh yeah, you got this super.
I've been seeing that around a lot too.
Yeah, the super long wingspan. Can he take that creation? Not to say to become Kawhi Leonard, but to become a player like that can do it on both ends. So it's just, I think it's just going to be the growing pains of like counting on guys to take leaps forward, and I think that's going to be the main thing. And that's why I really say it goes like so. It reminds me so much of when Ja first came to the Grizzlies, because it's like there's going to be some games where you're just looking and guys are making everything, and you're going to be like, wow, this team looks great. And there's going to be some games where, Cam Boozer might be 1 for 8. And, Cedric Howard might have 5 turnovers. It's
can't nobody
like,
hit shit. Yeah.
Stuff like that's just going to happen. So, like, and that's the thing of, like, I'm high on the team. Like, I think the team is going to be good. But I'm not, like, oh, yeah, they're going to be like a playoff. Like they're going to be like a top 3 seed.
Right.
Something crazy like that. What
Right.
I mean? Like, I think it's going to be something where they're going to surprise some people like early on. And I think if they're healthy, and I think the West is weaker than it has been. I think everybody can kind of agree that the West is a little bit weaker now, just with some of the guys that aren't in the Western Conference anymore now. So it's like, I think as a whole, like there's a good chance that they're in that 8, 9, or 10 spot, I think, just near the end of the season.
So this is actually a perfect segue too, by the way, because I was going to ask you, who's the biggest competition right now to Memphis in the play-in for you guys?
Ooh,
I think it's Dallas. I think it's Dallas or the Suns, in my opinion.
Ooh, yeah. See, I kind of tried to make a tier list last night because I usually make like a conference like standings before the season.
Yeah.
And for me, there's like a clear 7 teams ahead. Oh, obviously clear 2. Obviously OKC and San Antonio, they're top 2.
Yeah.
Then for me, tier 2 is kind of like your playoff teams you saw last year, plus Utah. Like it's Minnesota, Houston, Denver, LA, Utah. Those are like I'm a tier 2. Tier 3 is kind of where I got us at, which is like it's like 4 or 5 teams, and so it's kind of hard for me to say which one. But like for me, I got like the Blazers in there, I got the Suns in there, us, Warriors, and Dallas. Those are the ones. But if I had to pick one, it might be Dallas. But like I low key am not super high on Dallas. Just the simple fact of they were kind of like they were tanking, but I think they were kind of like adding to. And I feel like they got a lot of bigs on that roster where they need a lot more play. Like they got like you're basically depending on Kyrie coming off of ACL and Cooper Flag to make a big leap, which is still will win you games.
Yeah, for sure.
But my thing is I felt like because they picked Morez Johnson, which is a good pick, but like I felt like Burries would have made more sense if you're trying to win now, especially for a team that doesn't really control their picks till like 2030. So like I'm kind of concerned about how that's going to look. Now the new coach they got, Dusty May, he might just be so crazy and figure it out that hey, they might be better.
Might be.
But if I had to guess, if I had to guess, maybe even though, and again, like you said, I'm just not high on these teams in tier 3. Like Bryson was saying, like after Utah, like bro, like I could see any of these teams being like the 8 seed. Like I would not be surprised by like Utah. Like the Blazers have a lot of talent, but politics is gonna get in the way.
I think the Blazers confused the hell out of me, man, because I think early today Shaden Sharp got hurt. You still have Ja Morant and Dame as a backcourt defensively. That's gonna bleed a ton of value in season. And then also like you need guys to be healthy. We don't know how that's gonna look either, but they made the playoffs last year, so it's very intriguing what's gonna happen with that. Honestly, I don't know how to like properly rank the Blazers. They're like a very odd team to me.
Yeah, because
I think they're gonna be like. Oh, I was gonna say I think they're gonna be kind of in that same range. Like, and I think it also is gonna be like how many games do Ja Morant and Damian Lillard play for them too?
Good point.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So like, like there's no really telling like what that's really gonna look like.
Yeah.
And then I was also thinking, I don't know, I'm not like super high on the Lakers. I think they probably aren't in the play-in, but I could see them being like 5 or 6, and then that being like somebody that you might see in that range too, especially if like Luka gets hurt because you know he's had his injury issues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I could honestly see them kind of in that range, and I do think Golden State with the Axel and everything coming in, maybe they're somewhere in that range. I don't know. I just think with Steph, you're never just going to be completely out of it.
Listen,
completely out of it.
As the Golden State fan up here that has to watch these games, seeing the amount of mediocrity that was out there is tough. But the one thing I tell people is that the difference between this year and last year is that they got their bigs at the middle of the season, pretty much after Butler got hurt. So like now you start the season off with these bigs, and then it's like if you're hovering near 500 and then you get Butler back, now it's okay. They can be pretty good because they played pretty well with Butler and Steph, but the whole team wasn't really healthy. And then also it's like if Yaxel pops as a year one player, which he played extremely well, like even in the Boozer matchups, he was playing pretty well. Like if he could do that for like a full year, that does change how good of a regular season team Golden State is. But they're old as hell. So it's like
I was gonna say that.
I don't know what it's gonna be with them either. As a fan, you know, I don't know.
No, you're a real fan about them. Yeah, for me with Golden State, like they're an older team. And my thing is, if Butler was healthy, I'd feel better about it. But Butler, like they were a clear different team when he was healthy. Like they looked like a scary, like a legit team that could make a run, like an outlier type of run. But now that he's hurt, it's like now you're depending on Yaxel to pop, and then on top of it, like you said, you're an older team, and we already know that's why I kind of have like I forgot what another team that I had lower, but like these old, like we've seen where these teams that are super older, they don't really have good regular season success because this team is this game is so fast paced now. You can't just have a bunch of 35-year-olds out there. And like you said, Steph, like they won't be terrible. I'm not saying that. Yeah. But like they will be playing just off the simple fact that Butler's still out. You still, like you said, you got your bigs now. But even then, because I think y'all still got Porzingis.
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
You still got to worry about him being healthy on a yearly basis. So you got to worry about that. So I think there's a lot where if they were healthy, I'd feel better about it and not old. But like now I'm just like, I have to group them in this group. And to go back to the Blazers, why they're so because I think Drew Holiday's so important to them. Now you're putting him on the bench.
He's very important.
Yeah, where I think he needs to be playing with one of those guards, but they're not going to start him with one of those guards. You know what I'm saying? Like he should be starting. You think so?
Yeah,
so they're going to start those three guards.
Yeah, bro. Listen, I dead ass think Portland is crazy enough to where they're gonna play Drew Holiday mainly because Drew is so good he can play 3 different positions. So like they'll view him as like a 2-guard, 3-guard, whatever it is. And then my question is like, okay, Denny was like the offensive centerpiece, but now with Dame back, how does it work? My problem is like Dame, Denny, Ja Morant, like it's a lot of shit, man. Like I don't know.
Yeah, and they all need the ball. Yeah. Like not all these guys are off ball guys.
I think
like
Dame should come off the bench if I'm being honest because he was hurt. Like I would rather you begin the year off with Dame, there. In my opinion,
I 100% agree with you. But you know how this is NBA is. It's politics.
It is
because Dame is the franchise of that team. Like he's going to be a Hall of Famer. So they already said like he's not going to come off the bench. Like you're going to have to move aside. And then Ja Morant, well, I know he's not having the biggest. He hasn't been the biggest fan.
Backup Ja Morant.
yeah,
it's possible.
No, he could. It's possible for sure. He already said he doesn't mind it, but I just don't think they're gonna bench the all-star guy, the young all-star guy on a. They could. I wouldn't be surprised by it, but like, I just don't like. I'm big on fit too. Like you can have all the talent in the world, but if the fit doesn't make sense, I just can't get by it. So
agree.
like, to your long-winded answer to your question, I probably would damn near might say the Suns just because I like the coach. I don't really like the roster per se, but the coach is so good that they were.
I mean, they play hard.
Whatever. Yeah, and they play hard. Like they're gonna be playing hard, and I don't think they're gonna drop off to me because I think half the league's not gonna be tanking. But I don't think they're gonna drop off to the point where they're like the worst team in the league type. Like I think that's reserved for like the Kings, the Pelicans, and the Clippers. I got them jokers in tier 4 because I got all three of them in tier 4.
Okay.
Like especially the Kings. Like Kings might. Like I damn near you could put the Kings in a relegation zone penciled in. Like no doubt in my mind, I'd be very surprised if they win like 20 games.
You're
like,
sending them to the G League, man?
Oh,
relegation.
No. I'm just saying that's what they call it, the quote unquote relegation zone. Like, yeah. Those teams, like those 3 to 4 teams, are all grouped for me together, and I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out 8. But that's what I'm saying. Like in terms of like I wouldn't be surprised if the Grizzlies are the best group out of this team because. Here's the thing about the NBA. There's always a team that exceeds expectations. Like last year, you could say it was like Portland and San Antonio. Like
I say the
San
Suns.
Antonio was like, Suns too. Yeah, you can say those. That's
sure.
There's always a team that exceeds expectations to some extent. And so for me, when I look at the group, again, I'm a Grizzly fan, so it sounds like I'm biased, but objectively speaking, if Zach Edey's healthy, like, and I'm not saying they're going to play like 80 games. I'm not expecting Ty Jerome and him to play 80 games, but like they're going to play enough to qualify for the NBA awards, like 65.
He's gonna play more than the 23 minutes he could never go past last year, like that.
Yeah. And so my thing is, if they're playing that, why can't they be better in these groups? Because their talent makes more sense on paper as a fit. They have out of these groups. Obviously, you could say Cooper Flag is the best prospect out of the groups, but like if we're talking about your best 3 top core guys. You could say arguably the 3 guys that Memphis has, if they play up to the level, all fit the best in terms of just a court basketball fit, which makes sense. And my thing is, if they do that, they're in their young team, which young teams a young team uses surprises. Why couldn't they be like the 9 seed or the 8 seed? Like you said, now there could be some holdups, like Bryson was saying, where they're not, they're inexperienced, which I could see, which I definitely expect. Like they're going to be some stretches, like early on, they play their longest road trip. Like in week 2, like I expect, like there's no chance in hell I'm picking them to win more than than a split. There's no way they're gonna win like more games in that road because they're just a young team.
That's fair.
But I think it's gonna be like he said, like 29 or like the Ja rookie year where they started out not slow. Like they're not gonna start out as slow, but they started out kind of like a couple games under 500, but then they find like a rhythm in December. January where you're like, oh, this is like a legit team that's on the up and up, and then by you get to April, like March, you're gonna be like, oh wait, this is a team that you got to really worry about going into, and then they're not gonna make the play, but like that's how that first Ja team was, where they were bad early on, then they started to find their win around like January, like the trade deadline, and then after the trade deadline, you saw like, oh wait, Ja Morant's exciting, oh wait, Jaren Jackson's really good defensively, and okay, Dylan Brooks at that time was really good, like.
Oh wow!
Like you saw, like better. Like yes, like you might be better than you thought. Yeah. Because I remember when we had like a game, like because they're gonna win some games where they're against top teams where you're like, how did they do that? Because I think if I'm not mistaken, that first year I can't remember correctly because I haven't seen it in a minute, but like that first year is like right before the COVID happened. I think John Morant had like close to a triple double against the Lakers, and I beat them at home, like something like, or we were close to beating them at home. It was something like along those. And like the Lakers that year end up winning the title. Like they were like a 60, like they're on pace for 60 wins, like, and they still end up winning the title. But my point is, there's gonna be a game where they play like San Antonio or somebody at home, or like in New York.
And Knicks it's a way better game. People like listen.
Yeah,
it happens like
it's gonna be way better,
bro. It happens like clockwork. And like I know this because again, like I watch all these teams. Like it's always gonna be that random game that's on a Tuesday or a Thursday. It's like, 10 o'clock start time. I catch the highlights. You wake up. They won? Huh? Like they bro. I'm not surprised at that at all, Bryson. That's like I see that in this team. And again, I've been saying this everywhere outside of pop for some reason. But like I've been saying, why can't Memphis be the Suns of last season? Where no one has any hope, expectation, whatever it is. And like you don't know like the talent pool isn't like the highest in terms of like I would say ceiling, but they just have a lot of solid players. And sometimes just having a solid players in a real system is enough.
No, and I don't know if if y'all have looked at the Grizzlies schedule, but
I haven't
when
actually.
I look at the schedule, the time that I think we're really gonna see, and it's almost like the NBA kind of gave them a runway almost. Like that's what I would say. Is like in February, I think they got like 8 home games in a row.
Oh.
Yes, I'm crazy.
And it's like but it's like Philly, it's like the Ja return, it's Orlando, they're playing Knicks, Spurs, Boston.
Oh.
All at home.
Shit. Okay.
So I'm like, February is where it's gonna be like you're gonna really see like, okay, let's see where you're at by that, because at that point of the year, you know, based on what your
at that point you gotta know who you are.
You
Yeah.
gotta know who you are. But that's one of those things where it's like, you know, if you're having an okay season, but then you mess around and it's like, oh, you know, you beat Philly, and then it's like the Ja return and it's a back-to-back. And then you got New York and San Antonio on a Monday and a Wednesday back-to-back. And then you got Boston on Thursday, all in a week.
Right.
So it's like stuff like that where it's, yeah. So it's like that kind of, I think that time of year is going to be a big time of year where it's like, okay, if you win a couple of it's like if you win one of those games and you gain some momentum, you might mess around and you might, you know, beat a couple good teams, and that's that. And I think that's the type of stuff that can like change kind of how your season goes. So like having those many home games in a row and stuff like that at that point in the year, I think is going to be good for them too. But the schedule's interesting because they also don't really have like a lot of super long road trips. Like they have a long road trip like right off the rip. Like I think they play like opening night at home, and then they go on the road they go like to the West Coast immediately.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I got it.
Like,
I got it in front of me.
Yeah, okay. But I'm like, but that's like the longest. But you know, that's like the longest road trip of the year, and it's like I feel like their road trips are like front loaded too. So it's like the back half of the schedule, they're going to be playing a lot of games in Memphis, so that's going to be good for them too.
Yeah, I always think what people leave out when it comes down to giving proper, I would say like okay, a real overview, right? Is that a young team having hella competition in like 4 or 5 or 6 days, whatever it is. The pro is they're not an older team, so they're gonna get up for that next game, whatever it is. Like they're gonna have the legs the longer the season goes, more than other teams. The thing is, mentally, like, are they gonna be prepared to like get back right, get back this, get back that? And again, that comes down to just proper execution in a timely fashion. I think, like, I always say this: get my road games out the way early. I want to end my season at the crib. I always say that.
Yes, I agree 100%. And that's what, like, I felt like when I looked at the schedule, this is pretty favorable. Like, we got like not a lot of back-to-backs. I think we're like on the lowest amount of not the lowest amount, but like bottom 5 and like back-to-backs or something like that. And like your longest road trip, like you said, you get it out the way. And like you said, the schedule's kind of front loaded with the road trips. Like, and again, like young teams are always going to be worse on the road. This is how it is. So it's just like, I'd much rather get those out the way, especially when they're figuring it out. And again, I think a big thing, like you said about team, like young legs, not only do they have young legs, like in theory, if the curse that I think that Ja had on his team with the injuries bugs is gone, you're hopefully going to have a lot of these players playing. Like,
right.
And some of these players have already shown to be durable players. Like, that's why I like Cam Spencer and why I like Jalen Wells a lot, because these guys play a lot of games. And like that really is big value because you're going to get every single night, at least them being available.
Yeah.
And so, and even Grant to some extent. I know Grant's had injuries, but considering the person I just dealt with Ja Morant being like 20 games, only playing like 79 games, I'll take 50 games of that. Yeah, give me 50. I'm not asking for 82. 82 is hard in this league. Can you give me 65? Like, can you do that? If you do that, that alone is going to be enough. So, yeah, I think, like you said, there's going to be games where teams are not going to be wanting to play because, you know, it's like you know, this that third game in like 4 nights or whatever. Like, they're not going, and then they're Memphis. And again, this team is not going to be on no front runner stuff. They're going to be physical, and you're going to have to play. Like, this is not going to be some team that you're just going to be run over. Like,
walk in there, get the dub, get out. Nah, like it's
Yeah. No, it's going to be like the old G&G Grizzlies. Like, you knew when you're playing that Grizzlies team, you're gonna have to compete. Like, and you're going to be physical. It's going to be a fight. So there are going to be teams, especially on the road, that not going to want to get into that fight. Like, they're not going to want to. And again, these guys are young. Because, like you said, for perspective of being young, I know, like, Coward and Boozer are not Coward, but Coward and Eater are a little bit older for quote-unquote younger players. But, like, Boozer's so young, he's only going to be, like, 23 by the time he gets his second contract. Like, he's not even going to be, like, 25. Like, it's going to be kind of crazy how you can.
That's crazy,
feel.
yeah,
like,
wow.
He literally just turned 19, like, this summer. Like, he's literally going to be so young to the point where you could have, like I said, it's like, I'm not gonna say like the Wolves, but like how they have with Anthony Edwards, how they've been able to pivot around Ant so seamlessly because he's been so young and he was on a rookie deal. Right. Now you have him on an extension, but even then on an extension, you're still been able to pivot and have a field a competitive roster. And he's only 25. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you still have hopefully health pending for him.
Yeah.
He still has another 5, maybe even like 8 years of high level peak basketball. So if more. So like, that's the hope that you have for this team too, like just in terms of just looking forward. But like, and for this year, yeah, they're going to be some teams where they're not going to, like Philly. Like, Philly's a main one. If we get Philly on like a back-to-back or like third game, 4 nights.
You know, and be not going to play the back-to-back, something like that. Yeah, right.
You're not going to play, you know, LeBron might not play. It's going to be Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey, which is still enough. But still,
yeah,
Grizz going to be, they're not going to care who's going to want to play. Like, when they get like, so like, you're going to have those teams that are just not going to play. Like, look, no disrespect to your team, but like Golden State, you know, everybody not going to play 82. Like, you know, we could get them on
players on our roster last year who had sciatica. There's only 3 cases of sciatica in the entire league. 2 of those cases were on our team, bro. Dead ass. Like, yeah, I don't know.
No, but like that's an old man type of like literally,
yes,
like, older injury. So like, but my point is like, there's going to be some teams like that where you just know they're not going to play back to backs, or just they're going to be in a home like a hard stretch, and the Grizzlies are come ready to play. It's kind of like you said with the Suns, like teams didn't know what to expect from them, and then by the time you got to the middle of the year, you thought that a drop off was going to happen, but by that time it was already too late because they already had a culture established, identity established, and so by that time you couldn't be like, oh well, we can just you know bring up our level of competition in these games.
And the thing is, when you see a young team hot, that confidence that they get is nothing like it, bro, because it's like, damn, like everything I'm doing in practice is working. I want to practice even harder now. Like, because we got the legs for it. You know, like, that's
especially, that's the thing when they're playing at home too. Like, because you know, young players, it's just like you feed off of that crowd energy, like so easy.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, we're gonna have a game where it's a random role player game, and like Cam supposed to go off at 30. Or like Jeremy Grant gonna go off at 25. Like, and they're gonna be so mad because it's gonna be like Boozer had 12 points and he still won. Well, yeah, because these role players is going off because he put them in position. You're gonna have like 12 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and he's like a plus 35.
Right.
And they winning by like 10 points. Like, it's gonna be something along those where it's just gonna make sense. And like you said, it's a young team that's gonna have confidence, but I try not to compare them to the last team because again, I'm so moved on from the last team. But like last era's team where, you know, they got good so fast. And again, you had a lot of players that weren't really ready for it. They've said that before on record that they weren't ready for it. I feel like you got a lot of different personalities at the top, especially with Boozer, where he's used to winning games and winning championships. Like, him going on a 5-game winning streak is not going to be normal, like something crazy to him, because that's the expectation. He expects to win right away. Like, not to say win a title, but he expects to win games right away because that's all he's done. He said, like, in the pre-draft, he's like, I'm a winner. Like, that's what I do. So like, they're like, even when they have those highs and lows or whatever, they're going to be so steady because your best player is so steady that there's going to be a drop off in play just because they're so young. But I don't think there's going to be a big drop off in the sense of like, they just look so out of it or rattled where they're just spiraling. Like,
it's a different feel when your best player comes out and he really sets that tone every single day. Like, he's the definition of a unselfish guy. I know this for a fact too, because the way Cedric Carr was like, I did not know Cam Boozer was this good. Like if he's reacting like that off Summer League, the entire team is going to thrive off that for sure.
Yeah, and so that's just my thing with it, man. Like that's why I said like the temperaments matter. Like last thing with the thing, temperaments matter when it comes to stars. Like
Definitely.
that's why you see the best players, like even this past finals, like Jalen Brunson, never too high, never too low.
Yep.
Even Vic, never too high, never too low type of guys. Like when you have a guy at the head of a snake like that you know what you're going to get, are very reliable in the sense of their temperament. They're never going to get too high. They're never going to get too low. They're going to show up, be available, be consistent. That, like you said, sets a tone for the rest of the team to where, like, if he's doing this, why I don't have no excuse to not do this. Like, if Boozer's being this unselfish, I have no reason not to be unselfish. Or he's being this physical, playing hard, being available, I have no reason not to. And that's just going to permeate throughout the whole organization, regardless of who it is. And I think it's going to happen very quickly because he's the type of guy that people are going to want to play with because of how he plays anyway. And so they're going to be like, yeah, obviously they might not say it outright, but like, you'll be like, yeah, this is your team. We don't mind that being your team because you're such an unselfish guy. Like, yeah. And it's going to, like we saw it with the Knicks, like when Brunson made that leap and how he became such a guy, like they go how he go, like, and like how they act, like based on how his temperament is. And so I think that's going to kind of be the same thing that you're going to be like, again, like Boozer might not be the lead scorer, like you said, but you're definitely going to be like, this is his team. Like, it's not going to be like really much of a question of that at all. Like, I don't think like I said, by December, maybe before that, like it could be like 20 games in. You're like, yeah, this is Cam Boozer's team. We don't really got a question about like 27's like, yeah.
I mean, but that's what's like so like that's what's so impressive about this season for me though, because I think if you're a Memphis fan, again, I am not. So feel free to check me, you know what I'm saying, if I'm wrong or not. But I feel like this is generally speaking a year where you are sample sizing this entire roster, who's a core guy, who's not, who fits in. And what makes this year a real success is not how many wins you get, but it's process. It's, are we moving in like the right overall direction? Are players getting better? Do we know exactly what we want to get to? Like, that's what you're really gauging, because this is the first year, I would say, of the rebuild. So to me, that's what's going to make it a fun season, because it's not going to be heavy pressures on these players. And normally, especially if you were a young team who's trying to win and a whole lot of people just don't really take you seriously, you feel hungry to like put that on yourself. And that helps you out in the season. It really, like, you have to find internal motivations to play 82 games.
No, I definitely agree with that. And I do think that that's kind of how this team is going to be as well. I think it's going to be a team that, like I said, you know, I don't necessarily want to I don't know if I can put an exact number of wins, but I think, you know,
I will after you. I'll put a range. I got a range of what I expect. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, but it's just one of those things where it's like, I think that they're gonna, even if they don't make the play-in, they're gonna be fighting for it at the end of the season. Like, and I would say I would kind of expect them to be kind of like in that play-in range. But that's also not like super high expectations, you know, for a season necessarily. It's one of those things where it's like, if they're in the play-in, cool. If not, like, you know, depending on what went wrong, whether it was injuries, whether it was just, you know, guys not taking the leap you wanted, you know, you can kind of reevaluate that. But kind of like you said, I think this is definitely like an evaluation type of season where it's like you're coming in and you're like, you know, I don't want to necessarily say like kind of playing with house money on like kind of like, you know, hey, we already got Cam Boozer. Let's see what we have right here. And if it kind of goes and if this works out and it, you know, Cedric Howard is taking a leap and Taj Jerome is working well as the point guard, we could mess around and win a lot of games. And then if it doesn't work out, they have the assets down the line to continue to build around Cam Boozer and move players that they need to move. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like one of those things where everybody that's on the team this year, like you talk about Gigi Jackson, it's like, okay, is Gigi Jackson going to be somebody we're going to pay long term? Or is Gigi Jackson going to be somebody who is going to have to go somewhere else?
Right.
Is Taj Jerome somebody we're going to extend? And I think that's what this season is about, is figuring out who do we want to be on the team in 2 to 3 years from now.
Exactly.
You know, when, you know, Cam Boozer's starting to get a little bit older, and, you know, not to say that they'll be a contender by then, but, you know, by then you would hope that they're a consistent playoff team in a couple years. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I said this league changes fast. I tell people that's another thing. I keep bringing them up, but I'm doing it for the perspective part.
Yeah.
Like that's why I think half of the Grizzly thing is like hard for some fans because it happens so fast and they're still young, so they're like this kind of went off the rails pretty quickly. But I tell people it's very fluent in this league. Like you could be good right away for a year and then be gone in like the next 2. Like it's very fluent, and especially it's a younger, especially how good young players are right away. Like I wouldn't be surprised by year 3, they're already like closer to the top middle of the West because if Boozer's that good right away and Edie's healthy and Coward makes leaps, like that wouldn't surprise me. Especially they draft so well, and things of that nature. But like,
bro, 2 years ago, Alex, the Spurs were not in the playoffs. They went to the finals. That's exactly how fast shit moves, bro. Like it's
it moves fast. So like that's why I wouldn't blink if you're by the end of this season. I'm not saying they're gonna be top 6 or nothing, but like I wouldn't be surprised if they were like the 9 seed and then you're like, dang, like Memphis is gonna be. They got one of the best young cores in the league. Like that wouldn't surprise me because that's how fast this league moves. Like it changes very fast. It's good and bad. Like it can change very fast. Like for some of these teams. So like so yeah, I just think with how this team is, like it's about who fits best next to Boozer, Coward, and Edie. If you fit well next to them, you're gonna get a second contract. And if not, you're probably not. Like to me, I'm not gonna say who could get. I mean, I could say who can get a second contract. Like I feel confident in saying like Jalen Wells will get a contract, and maybe like a Cam Spencer. Scottie Pippen for me is kind of like the guy where if he's healthy, he will. Like I think Ty Jerome will, but I don't think he's part of like he'd be here 2-3 because I feel like, especially if you're good right away. Who's to say? I'm not gonna say they're gonna make some crazy splash move in the sense of like add like an all-star, but they got enough money to be like, hey, why don't we? I'm just gonna bring up a name, but like, like certain breakout candidate, but like, why don't we pay Anthony Black money to be our guard or one of our if in a better role or higher role, or we draft him? Like those type of moves that you could have if you're good enough right away. Knowing like even if like the players don't fit, you can identify who does fit somewhere else, like that's on a different team or whatever in the draft, free agents. Yeah, so you'll have a good idea of that. And like I was saying with the wins, like in terms of expecting, I'm not saying they're gonna win 40 something games, but like I do expect like somewhere in the 30 range, like 34 to like 38. Like I could see that. Like it wouldn't surprise me because my thing is they do things that win you games, not easily, but like regular season games at a baseline level. It's just going to be depending on like if a lot of these games are close, and if is the inexperience going to be like in the way
exactly how they execute in those moments and whatnot. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's why I think the biggest problem like will be for them is like inexperience and youth, and maybe some athleticism stuff, but not really because they can make up for it with the with more physicality, but like more so the inexperience because these players haven't played.
And the only way you get experience is what? By being healthy and playing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what
it is. And that's why I said that's why I only hope those 3 guys are healthy because last era I had to deal with Ja, Jaren, and Bane barely playing 20 games together in the season. Like most of the time, because like literally it would be like one guy like the year you're talking about when Jaren got paid and then got hurt or got hurt in the offseason. That was the year he won Defensive Player of the Year. It was like Ja and Bane to start the year. Then as soon as Jaren gets back, Bane goes out with like a toe injury or something.
Yeah, bro. Yes.
Then you get back. Then it's like Ja then goes out for a little bit. Then it's Jaren and Bane. Or then, Jaren and Bane. Like, you had to deal with that musical chairs all the time. And you're still going to deal with it. Like, it's going to happen. But I don't want that to be for your best guys. Like, I want at least to be like, I know Coward, Boozer are going to play every game at least. And, like, Edie's going to play, like, most of the games. Like, I need at least that. So, because – that's how you win. Your best players got to be, that's how it was. Like you said with the Spurs making the leap, they made the leap because Wemby made the leap. That roster's okay, like it's good, no doubt. But like they made the leap to the finals because Victor Wembanyama became a top 5 basketball player in this league. Like not because of I love Dylan Harper, like he was great, but like it's not because Dylan Harper was good as a way. It's because Victor Wembanyama became an All-NBA player. So like that's like and I'm not saying Boozer's gonna be that right away, but like that your best players is gonna be determined by those 3 guys. Like, so like if they're better than expected and guys are fitting around them, they'll compete right away. Not and you'll be like, damn, that's the team you gotta worry about next year the year after, because again, they're young. Like it's not like they're not going anywhere. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna have to really figure it out. So yeah.
The last player comp I'm gonna say that I think I might have told Bryson this. I forget. Bryson, feel free to let me know if I did or not. To me, like the dangerous part about Zach Edey is if I'm high on like the ceiling of him this season, he could be very similar to Zubac when he almost made all NBA on the Clippers. Like I can see that very like, okay, you're up there in boards, you're averaging maybe 2 blocks a game, maybe even more because he's just way taller than Zubac with bigger arms and whatnot. Like he could be a 15 and 14 guy. And that's great.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really good. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like
amazing.
Yeah, that'll impact games. So like all they're looking for is 1 or 2 guys to pop with consistent, solid role players around all of them that can play the whole season. You get that, you are definitely in the play-in, which at that point, literally anything can happen. We don't know. Like all it takes is single game variance, and then boom, now you're a team who's in the playoffs. That's all it takes.
Yeah, no, and I think like last year, the Warriors won like 37, 38 games.
Yeah.
And that was enough to be the 10 seed. So like that and so that's why when you gave that range, that's kind of where I'm like, I kind of agree with that too. Like I see that range. And then I think there is like a possibility that, if it goes really well, they might push up and, hit 40. Like I don't think that's like completely out of the question.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. Like that like that's how like there's so much stuff this team could happen because they're young and they're good. They're going to be pretty, like young, good, all that. Like there's a lot of outcomes I could see. It's just hard for me to see the worst outcomes because like I feel like they have a decent floor because it's just like just who you have at the top. I just feel better about the guys that you have at the top in terms of your best three or your quote unquote best 3 players because just like I said, how they play, temperament, and that wins basketball. And again, it might not be the highlight of like the most exciting basketball, quote unquote, but it's productive in basketball.
But the reason why you even feel that way though is like if we're comparing it, and again, I don't want to be an asshole, but like I think factually speaking, knowing that Jaren couldn't really be a 5, the best fit was really Steven Adams, which at times was clunky, but it worked well. And then after Adams got hurt, it's like, well, damn, who's going to actually be the 5 now for Jaren because he didn't really be the 5. You have no questions at all with the front court, and you have a dynamic guard. Like, that's why it just makes more sense as a 3. And if they're healthier, now you really got something cooking.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like, last era, you had so many things. Like, I said Jaren Bane could be good if they were healthy, but I felt like how their weaknesses as players, you had to get the other 2 starters like really solid. Like you had to make sure they were archetypes that fit those guys because you knew Jaren wasn't a great rebounder, so you needed a 5 that could rebound. But the problem was you needed a 5 that could shoot too because John Morant's not a great shooter, and you need shooters around John Morant. But then it's like Bane is a great shooter, but he's 6'5" and does have short arms, not a super athlete. So you need another wing. Like you had so much stuff that you needed.
It was so much that they were trying to make up for. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas these guys, you got to make up for stuff. But like Coward's your prototypical type of wing type of player. Boozer, while not super athletic, he's big and physical and he rebounds and he's skilled. Like you can do like it's not hard to build around that type of player. Like it's easy. Like Bryson's point earlier about versatility. Like they have so much. It's more like they could build their team already so much more versatile. Like you have a lot more options. And so like that because of your best 3 players, like you could run a bunch of different lineups. Like, and that's what's going to make you so hard to beat. And really future wise, like you said, when we talk about like adding talent to this group, you could add a lot of different archetypes as a team because your top 3 is so scalable that a lot of different guys make sense for what you need. It's just about how much you're willing to part with in terms of from an asset standpoint. Like, do we want to get this guy? And I think they will, because that's the thing too. I think people don't realize like things went on. Like literally, the Grizzlies had one good season last era, and it went off the rails quickly.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
Literally, John Morant became an All-Star, All-NBA player, and literally wilded out that same summer. Beat up the kid.
It's why people say
summer.
He peaked at age 22. That's why people
22. Yes. And so and that's my thing. Like he wilded out quickly. So you didn't really give a chance to get it off the ground. Now, granted, you still could have made more moves and stuff like that, but my point is, like, I always believe in basketball gods and karma, like good karma. Like, you can't be playing like that. Like, and that's why I don't think they're gonna do this. Era's not gonna do that. They're not gonna do stuff like that, silly stuff like that to tank a whole era. Like, I know it sounds kind of crazy.
All these guys are mainly basketball. The numbers,
like you're talking about. Yeah. But my thing is, like, we don't have to worry about these guys doing anything crazy. They're gonna be focused on the game, and again, they fit better. Like, that's why I think this time around is gonna work out a lot better. Does that mean they're gonna win a title? No, I don't. You don't guarantee that. It's hard. People understand how hard it is to win.
It's hard as hell to win.
But in the era, but in the era where you have 8 different champions in 8 different years, who's to say you can't say that in 3 or 4 years you can't be one of those teams? Like, you should feel that way because that's the type of era you're in. You're in a parity era. I love anyway, where you have teams that can really have a chance of winning each year instead of having your same dynasties where dynasties are great. They're great for the league. But I think especially when you have such a deep talent pool in this league, I like this. Again, Nick, how you feel about Knicks fans or whatever, but I like the group of players they had on the Knicks, and I like seeing them win that championship.
Yeah,
exactly. Sure. Like, I like how they did that. And so, like, I'm for these teams winning these championships because, again, people understand, like, it's hard to win, but also you want to give these fan bases, like, hope and, like, they can feel like they can really win. Like, and again, it's still going to come down to who's the top 3 seeds in either conference. That's how it works. Like, history says that. But even then, but even then, you could be a 3rd seed. Like back then, even in the dynasty, even if you were top 3 seed, you're like, okay, it's 1 to 2 teams. Now, if you're in the top 6 teams, basically top 3 in either conference, you have a chance to win it. Like, just straight up, period. If you're top 3 seed, you do. Because people are sleeping on the Knicks and saying they couldn't win. And I'm just like, nah, that team is pretty good. Like, I'm like, they could easily, like, win a championship. So, like, yeah, that's what you hope for the Grizzlies in 3 years. But, like, right now, you're building in an era where, like, it's going to be, like, it's more easier. I'm not going to say easier, but, like, you have a bunch of options, assets, all that. Like, you're in a better starting point than you were last. Like, last era, you got lucky, and then you had a bad roster. Now you kind of have a better idea of what you want, what you're looking for with the asset. And that can get scary because now, again, the best place an NBA team could be is having options. If you have options to do whatever you kind of want to build your team out, that's usually the best teams that win.
And that part right there, from what Alex just said, for all the Grizzlies fans who are this deep and hopefully not rage baited, that is why you should enjoy the season. Calm down. Relax. John Moran is not on this goddamn team. If you want to watch John Moran, you can go. You could also watch Portland as well. Ain't no shame in that. But appreciate and enjoy basketball with what you got. Okay, we have spent 2 hours and 11 minutes talking about Memphis basketball, and the funny part is I'm not a Memphis fan, and I'm with it because I'm excited. So if I'm not a fan and I'm tapped in, you got to tap in. That's all I'm saying. Like, have some patience with the season. Enjoy your time, bro. Just enjoy the new hoops. Enjoy the process. It's a new process. It's fun. I generally think they will be a fun team to watch. I believe it. So appreciate that.
I do too. Yeah. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Like I said, I think, and with every fan base, there's all this stuff that goes on social media. I'm to the point now to where I miss a lot of stuff. Like, I'll get on social media. People talk about, like, something's going on Grizzlies Twitter and all this is happening. And I'm like, man, I didn't even see what happened. But I think most people, are probably at least cautiously optimistic, I would say, is how I feel. There's always the side of people that are more like doom and gloom and like that kind of thing that's just going to come out regardless of what it is. But I would say, like, I'm optimistic about everything. I'm not expecting them to, like I said, I'm not expecting this year to be anything crazy. But I'm just trying to come into this year being like, hey, I'm trying to see the main players take steps forward. I'm trying to see what Cam Boozer looks like on an NBA floor with, NBA talent around him as well. And yeah, that Boozer and Edie front court, man. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Here for it, bro.
Here for it. And this is the hashtag I've been using since, I want to say, before the draft or right after the draft. I'll be saying, don't run NBA. I've been saying that I'm going to keep saying it. Don't run, because literally do not run from this team when they are better than expected. Don't run and be like, hey, like, oh, we didn't see this, or like, we don't have, no. This team is gonna be good.
That's why we do these podcasts in the offseason, baby. Which I'm time stamping shit now, so we gonna come back for sure.
Yeah, no, you can. Don't run. That's all I'm saying. If they better than expected, even if they're not, because I still feel confident, even if they are like, okay, the 11th seed, you're gonna be like, oh wait, they're still gonna, like, you gotta worry about this team in a year, or two. And
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you're going to have to worry about that. They're going to be a problem. Like, it's hard for me to see bad outcomes unless, obviously health is the biggest thing. But like, I just feel like I can't just, in my mind, like I said, basketball gods, there's no way I just dealt with what I dealt with for the last like 2 years specifically, 2-3 years.
Reparations.
But literally the last 4. Yes. And there's just no way Adam Silver rigged this lottery for me to get Cam Boozer, who fits the Grizzlies on and off the court more than anybody in the last like decade, damn near, from a young player prospect, just to be bad. Like, it's hard for me to see that just not work in some scenario where it's hard for me to not envision them like playing in playoff series, making a run at some point, and just being good, not winning the title, but just being good. Like, it's hard for me to not see that. Like, it's hard for me to see them have only one playoff series win like this last team. It's hard for me to see it. It's just hard. I can't see too many scenarios where it's just like, oh, damn, that Cam Boozer they only won one playoff series. No, I'd be surprised. I'd be like, damn, something happened. Something bad happened.
Hey.
Like, somebody got hurt.
And this is why in season I want to make sure that we chop it up still. I will be hitting y'all for like some game watches if you ever want to do that, because in season I will be streaming a lot of these games live. I'm gonna try to keep it so, like, I had a spreadsheet last year of like the games I watched per team, but dead ass, like, it got hard to like keep updating it as I was watching. So like, I kind of lost, sight, but I definitely want to watch.
Yeah, especially with League Pass, man.
It's hard. It's hard, brother.
8 games on the night.
It's hard, brother. And like, I hate the accident because I have basically 4 monitors now. So basically, like, I could watch like this game, but it's like, am I really watching shit if I have 6 games? Like, no. Like, I'd rather watch 1 or 2 games and that's it. So that way I can fully take in everything I'm actively watching and be done, be set like that. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, no, I feel you, because I'd be like, man, I have the 2. Like, I have maybe like 2 on the computer and maybe 1 on the place. Like, it'd be hard, man. I'd be like,
it'd be hard. It'd be hard, brother.
Yeah, it depends on what the game. It'd be hard to keep like, damn, I'm missing this. Yeah. But if it's Grizzlies, I'm locked in. So then I'm like, all right, I gotta watch one. Like, so I understand, bro.
I am going to do a follow-up segment with y'all in season after we get like 15 games, 20 game sample, and we're gonna revisit and see exactly what's going right with the team, what's wrong, all this stuff for sure. I'm on that. I will text y'all for sure about that.
No, look, I will respond. I will be there. Look, I will be locked in. Look, I'll be locked in when training camp.
Facts.
Training camp going. I'll be I'm gonna be looking at every preseason interview. Like, bro, do you understand how much I've like watched these like Cam Boozer highlights in the last like month, like even the last couple weeks? I already knew what I watched the games, but like I'm ready to watch more. Like I've seen it. Like I'm ready. Like I'm excited. Like I got my joy back. Like what's that picture? It's like Isaiah Thomas. Like I got my joy back.
I got my joy back. Yeah,
I got my joy back, man. About my team, I can feel good about them. I gotta be like, damn, like this is getting to the end. No, this is something new. People should be excited, bro.
You got direction. Like that's my thing. You have a direction. You understand what the vision is, and that just feels so much better. Ain't that right, Bryce? Look, like you know where you're going.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that way too, and I think it's kind of one of the things where last year, like even going into it, it kind of felt like it was like if it don't work this year, you're gonna have to restart. And now that you know where you are, I think now the front office, all the players and coaching staff is all kind of like on the same page. So, we'll see what happens. It'll either work or it won't, but at least they're all pulling in the same direction at this point. So
absolutely,
that's a good thing.
Absolutely. Well, chat, listen, we've been live for 2 hours and 17 minutes. Every time we talk hoop, it don't matter if we haven't talked in over 365 days. This shit flows so crazy because 2 hours don't even feel like 2 hours. That was a great conversation. Big shout out to D9 in chat and also Logical Fan in chat. I love doing this series because I get an insight on all of these teams, Memphis included. I think the biggest thing I want to capitalize more on is like updating this in season, because normally it's like, okay, boom, off season, and I'm gonna do whatever I can. No, like I want to revisit some of this stuff in season, so I can't wait until that sets it up. But now that we're over here at the end of the podcast, fellas, what are your closing statements for the latest episode of the Get the Hoops podcast? Let me know how you felt.
Hey, look, I'll just say, hey, like I said at the beginning, I appreciate you having me on. I'm always, appreciate you. Look, I know I'm still in this little Discord. We watched some summer league games and stuff
Yes,
together
sir.
earlier this summer too, so that's always fun. So whenever I got a chance to watch some games or something like that, I'm always down to come up. But I'm just excited for the season to start. You said you're ready for training camp, man. I'm ready for media day. I'm ready for whatever.
Oh yeah, media ain't gonna be a hit. Media ain't gonna be a banger for sure. Yes.
So yeah, I'm excited for the NBA season to start, and hey, and to anybody who if you got League Pass, I'm telling you, it's gonna be a good watch.
Yeah, I'm ready for the boring answers that Cam Boozer and Coward and Edie are gonna give. But I'm just gonna be like, yes, this is great. Like my stars are quote unquote boring again. Like it's gonna be fun. Like literally, that's how it is. Like my stars are boring. Like they back then. So like when I was younger. So like young me is like happy about it. But like like I appreciate you having me on.
Of course,
it's good to dust off the podcast mic for a little bit. So like it's gonna be fun because like I said, like you said, direction is the biggest thing. I'm so glad direction is happening. That was all thing. Like it's hard to be in the middle in the league, especially the NBA.
Very
even though
hard,
they try
bro.
to incentivize being in the middle now, but like so now you have a clear direction, and that's all I asked for. I was like, I just need a clear direction. So I finally got that. So yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, if you need me to check in, I'll be there because like I will be there. Look, training camp, preseason, media day, all that.
Lit.
I will be watching. I will be, like I said, I am locked in now. Look, my joy is back. I am in. I mean, I was locked in. I'm always gonna be locked in just off the string. Like when you've been a fan for a long time.
But the thing is, you're excited to be locked in. Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah, you're excited to be like,
you're
exactly.
right.
I'm excited. Right. Like I'm not just like, damn, here we go, another season. No.
Right.
We're here. Yeah, we're good. So yeah, I'm definitely excited. Appreciating you having us on, and yeah, man. Look. Hey, don't run NBA. That's all I got.
Love that.
Don't run the NBA. Please.
Love that. Big shout out to Alex and Bryson again. Make sure to tap into their socials. This has been episode, I think, 12 of the Get Loose podcast. I'm streaming every day this week. We're doing the Lakers next, the Jazz next, the Rockets. Then we got a lot of good teams that are on the way up. Big shout out to Memphis FC. We will be tapping in all year long. You can find this podcast again at Gifted Hoops on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Since this is a live podcast, it's going to already be live on the YouTube. So if you're late to the party, come back because we spoke in depth about a lot of topics. I will timestamp this. It might take some time because we talked about a lot of things, but I like that because there's no shortage. Like, listen, we don't do vague conversations on this pod. We get into lineups, rotations, who gonna have the most points per game? We talk about all of it because we're not doing this for a whole other year. So we got to get everything done. You feel what I'm saying? But appreciate having Alex and Bryson on the podcast. I will catch y'all tomorrow for some more NBA stuff. And remember, signing out here, appreciate basketball. We're very, very close. If you're not watching W right now, I don't know what to tell you. They're starting to cook up crazy in the W. I will be tapping in to close out the year for sure. And prepare for media day. To Bryce's point, can't wait to watch all of the PR trained players coming into our league, baby. So yeah, peace out, y'all. Have a good one. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Salute. Peace.